Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Welcome in, welcome in. Mary P, how's it going? I hope you're doing good. I hope you guys are doing all good today. Ooh-wee. Sheesh. Welcome in, welcome in. How's everybody doing? I'm glad you're doing great, man. I'm glad you're doing great, bro. Welcome in, welcome in. How's everybody doing? We're just getting started. If you're in here, please smash that screen. Please share it live. It helps us get on out there. It helps us do big, big things. Welcome in, welcome in. We are just getting rolling. We are just getting rolling. Woo-wee. That is on some hood shit. Welcome in, welcome in. We're just kind of having fun for the second. Just logging on. We're doing reads today. Tomorrow morning. I won't be on tomorrow morning. Yeah, it just depends on what kind. I'm always accepting collective questions, and then we allow people to choose whether they would like a general or if they have a specific question or topic to be felt into. So as far as that, technically, yeah. Yep. Once you're on the list, you get asked if you want a general or if you have a specific question or topic. So yes, in that sense, yeah. But collective questions that don't require you, like, in your energy to be felt into, like 100% collective questions can be dropped down at any time, you know. Yeah, yep, everything's 12/12 today. So we got Cash App, we got Venmo. Everything is 12/12. I'm keeping with the price cuts. I don't know, I kind of like it. I like it. I don't know. You know what I mean? Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're just getting started. If you're here, please smash that screen. Please share it live. We're going to pop off with collective. Little Ducky. Your name's just so fun. I hope you know that. Your name is so much fun. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the list is open, guys. We're doing 12/12 today. So if you want something felt in, what up, party people? What up, party people? Thank you so much for the share. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you guys would like, literally as you say, party people, wild ones. You're dangerous. I'm speaking my language. So I'ma call you mine. Y'all don't want to hear me sing. Not even when I'm actually trying. Alright, so welcome in, guys. So the list is open. We're doing 12/12 today. I hope everyone's enjoying the energy right now. You know, I hope everyone's really just, because we're heading over here, and man, if you understood the assignment, welcome up. Lutonia is Jay being faithful. So I can't feel into Mr. J's energy. But I appreciate your question. We can do a love relationship reading for you. You know what I mean? If that's something you would like. Welcome in, Leo. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We can do a love relationship reading for you if you'd like. Everything's 12/12 today. We got Cash App, we got Venmo. But it would be dialed into your energy, because we never play an energy we don't have permission. Bad energetic ethics. Get that karma coming back faster than nothing. Harmony, am I with my forever person? We can tap into it. We could try to get you an answer on that. You know what I mean? If that's something you would like to do. Same thing. It's 12:12 if you want me to feel into anything for you. I don't mind doing it, you know. That's why I come on here, you know. Sometimes this is more affordable for people, and I understand that, you know. Welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. You know. Alright, I think we're going to pop off with collective here. If you are in this room, please continue to tap that screen. I'm going to share to my mod because I forgot to do that. My bad. My bad, B. She going to be in here and be like, wow. Yeah, you can do whatever read you'd like. Yeah. Yep. Everyone gets a choice whether they want a general or if they want a topic or specific question. So your topic would be love. Yep. And that's not a problem. We can do it. Alright, here we go. Let's pop off with collective. I just feel like this energy is vibing up high, so let's get on the boat before we get, you know, running off the dock. Alright, here we go. Thank you all for being here. Please keep tapping that screen. I'm gonna bot in now. Alright, here we go. Ah! Oh shit, no shit. Oh shit, no shit. Way to go, collective. Way to go, collective. I feel like it doesn't even matter what gender you are, and we're not even going to play with the non-genders, but I'm just saying whether you identify as masculine, feminine, you guys have both of those energies inside you at all times, and it's balancing the two, and I feel like for my feminines in the collective, you stepping all the way up. I like stepping up, stepping out. You are bridging through so many spaces right now, and I feel like as far as the masculines that are inside of you, like your masculine energies, my divine feminines, yes. Yes, you are alchemizing it. You are telling your brain to be quiet for a second, and let's feel our way through this. Stillness and intention is what you are working off of right now. Oh my goodness. You functioning off of nothing but instinct. Instinct. You are functioning off of nothing but instinct. You are doing exactly what you should be doing. My feminines who are crushing it. Yes, you are starting to alchemize and realize that you have all the tools you need in order to get it done. I am super excited. I was so over the last couple messages, the last couple days. You are bridging through your beginning stages. You are bridging through your rebirth. You are really starting to pull pieces together. And I feel as though you're starting to quiet down your mind. So if you've been noticing that things are starting to slow down in order to speed up, you're getting tapped in. If things are slowing down to speed up, you're exactly where you should be. I feel like for some of you, though, you're bridging out through this heartache. You're bridging out through this pain. And this pain is something that you've been denying yourself from feeling. So I feel the need to tell you, the Six of Cups is always, not the Six of Cups, I'm sorry. Slow down, guys. The Six, as in the number 6, is always my victory number because it's when you choose to do something. You choose forward motion from 5 into 6. You saw the problem and you chose to go do something about it. And they're just talking about how you moved from 3 to 6, you doubled. Because that's the speed that you're going at, you doubled. You're on your way to 8. I feel the need to tell you you're on your way to 8, and this might not make sense to everybody, but 8 is your balance, 8 is your continuation. And 8 is where you need to be because right now your masculine energy is taking a step back, but he needs to shh for a minute so that you can let your feminine spread her wings. That's the whole part. And then he gets to come back and we can balance him out. But this is about feeling your feelings right now. And they're taking me back to that Nako song, Feeling Your Feelings. I don't know if anybody plays with that, gets down with that song at all. But they're just talking about this is the end to a lot of conflict within yourself right now. This is what is bringing forward celebration. This is what is bringing forward mind, body, soul connection because we're still working in 3s here is what they're talking about. And they're talking about how this has kind of sparked your curiosity with what's to come. Because I feel like because you have taken the massive step forward and they are commending you for a massive step forward and that hit the ground and we'll pick it up in a second. But they're just talking about how this has commended you for a massive step forward. And they're talking about this ushering in new beginnings. And I'm getting annoyed because they're telling me to pick it up. Woo-wee. I'm going to tell you, whoever's in this room who's thinking that I'm not worried about anything outside of me. I have my blinders on and I'm just focusing on myself. You don't need to. You don't need to worry about anything outside of you, because you focusing on you and giving your feminine energy, your intuition, your instinct a place to go, room to be, and take up space is allowing you to be that independent, that soulful person. But also, you're now attracting what you want in the middle world. You're now attracting what you want on Earth in the 3D. You're no longer chasing it. I feel the need to be like, I don't know why. I feel the need to be like, so I don't know if somebody's, I feel like that's like, I'm done with it. Like, nixed it. You're bridging out of the need to chase. We got a 12 on the table, and I'm being told to take it as a 3. And as I'm talking about a 3, we have the arrow, which is a 3 that just pops out. And I feel the need to tell you, this landed not face up. This landed face down. But when this arrow landed face down, they're talking about your connection here. Your connection to the ground. You are rooted in what you're doing right now. You are rooted in what you're doing. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. I feel as though you're in the middle of your seeker, and your seeker's your 7. And they're pulling me back to the fact that we just said you would reach 6, which was victory. So this is pulling me back to the point where now you're seeking. So you made the movement forward. What are we looking for? I feel like you're seeking for a lot of self. I feel like you're also seeking for fulfillment and gratification, both inside and outside of yourself. I feel like there's some part of the collective right now who's just realizing their worth in the best possible way, because you bridged out of some dark spaces. I feel the need to tell somebody that a lot of your foundations have been up in the mud. A lot of your foundation... Shut up. Bridging out of dark spaces. You got the Level card. You got the making a leave, and you got the moon. Leaving dark spaces of what you come is your cycles. Talk about confirmations. This is why I truly love using tools like this. Is not because we use them to read, but at least not because I do, but because their confirmations are huge. And they're talking about how you're going through a little bit of like, I wanted to call it like a slump. Like you're coming out, you're bridging out of a slump. Like there were some things and some spaces that just didn't work for you. And I feel like this is this 5 of Pentacles energy. Some things that just didn't work for you. It's a little bit of this temporary, I'm going to call it hardship, like this temporary hardship. And I feel like there was a lot of unbalanced energy, and you were in your head about a lot of things more than anything else. You were in your head about everything. So if you are bridging out of spaces and places, relationships, even friendships, relationships do not have to be, romantic. They can be platonic. They can be just casual. It doesn't really matter. They can be situationships. So watch yourself. But they're just talking about how you're moving away. I feel like someone's team's laughing. You're moving away from what no longer served you in the best way possible. And it took a lot of strength to get there. And I feel like it's funny because this landed on the table like this. So your strength is up, but what you had to use strength in was your decision-making skills. You had to kind of open both eyes to see it. So it's like you had to discover yourself. You had to discover your strength, your power, your courage, your oomph, your ness in order to make the decision you needed to make, but you made it. You cast judgment on yourself, and that's the point. They're saying, like, I feel someone slow clapping in the back right now for this feminine collective, for this divine feminine collective. I feel the need to tell you that you're no longer shrouded in too many options, but can't make a choice. You're no longer shrouded in the swamp of sadness is what we call it over here. You're no longer stuck in the mud. This is no longer happening to you, it happens for you. This is the kind of energy that you're embodying right now. So my feminines, if you are feeling a glow up, this new moon cycle, not new moon, but this new full moon cycle, if you are feeling a glow up in the energy right before this kicks off tonight, right before this moon gets as big and as bright as possible, congratulations, that's super important. They are rebirthing you like no other. You are fully where you need to be. Keep on going. They're bringing something really close. They're bringing something into you. And I don't normally talk about people's abundances. I think it's kind of overdone and over-exaggerated. And it's kind of like clickbait. I'm going to be honest. But they're talking about how you're seated. And they're using the word seated in a couple ways. I'm seeing the word spelled like a seed, S-E-E-D. But they're talking about how you're seated. You're also sitting where you should be sitting in the throne that you should be sitting in, owning your shit, owning your power. And they're talking about the seeds that you planted are on the correct road. And when they're saying the correct road, they're linking it directly to what you're supposed to be doing, your purpose, your destiny, your oomph. When everyone goes, I don't know if I'm doing it, I just want to know what I'm doing. You're already doing it. Stop looking ahead of you. Just be present right now. And they're talking about you've become a good teacher, but only because you were a great student. I've been playing around with that saying for the last 2 days. It's been in my space, and I wasn't quite sure where they were going with it, and I guess we're going here with it. They're commending you for being a good student, which means that you would have had to have learned your lesson to be considered a good student. You would have to be learning and growing to be considered a good student. And I feel the need to tell somebody in here, it's not just you learn to love yourself. You learn to unconditionally love somebody else, and you're bringing them right to your ass. And I don't know a different way to say that, but you're reeling them right in. You've trusted yourself, and in trusting yourself, you trust your connection. In trusting your connection, you trust the universe. In trusting the universe, you're back to trusting self. This is the wild circle that they've put you on, and you just see it. Like I feel the need to say you just see it now. You're just in it now. You're just riding it all now. You can't even make this up. You can't even make this up. What did I just say? You were riding the waves. You were riding it through your persistence because you didn't give up. And you're putting things together. You're part of your community. You're building things that they talk about. I feel the need to tell you that you're built for big things. And it sounds stupid and it sounds silly and it sounds like, ugh. No, it's the truth. You're built for big things, B. You need to make your vision as big as you are. Quit cutting yourself small. Quit hiding in the dark. You need to expand. Sit back in them bleacher seats. Get all the way up there. You need to see the whole stadium. They're just talking about while you start. I keep hearing planning your next moves. While you're starting to plan your next moves. You can't make this up. The focus card is out. While you're planning your next moves. I love cards for confirmation. While you're planning your next moves, they're talking about the need to continue to give to you. Don't get too... What's that saying that they're talking? Hold on. They're giving me a weird saying. Don't put the cart before the horse. They're talking about you need to... Well, that doesn't really make any sense, but that's what they just yelled. Don't put the cart before the horse. But they're talking about you need to give time for you. Take it slow. One thing at a time. Don't rush it. Don't jump it. Don't try to hurry up, but don't get hyper-focused. Because balance is the key. Balance is the key right now. Yo, this is wild. This is wild. I don't know what collective we just blooped into. I don't know where we're at, but I like it. I like the energy right now. I like the collective the way it is. I wish we could stay here. I wish we could stay here, huh? Holy Lord. We got the star card out again. How many decks? How many decks do we need the star card out? How many decks do we need the cycles card out? How many decks do we need that you're learning the lesson not only to love yourself, but to love your connection to everything and to trust it. So for those of you who are trusting your instincts, for those of you who are learning and teaching yourself, because I really feel the need to say that not many people are being taught, you're teaching yourself through trial and error, and you need to give yourself a damn break. Give yourself a break. When you learn through trial and error, shit takes a second. Shit takes a second. Shit takes a second. You got big things coming in, and it's not clickbait. It's not to be, look to the future. No. It's just the truth, because right now you're sitting in creation energy, and I want to tell you that you as the divine feminine are sitting in creation energy. Like, you're sitting in it, you have it. And they're just talking about how you're starting to tap into it. You're starting to tap into your creation energy. And I'm not really sure why we're doing this today, but apparently this is important, I guess. I don't know what this is, but apparently this is important. So they're just talking about how don't stop now. You can build what you want with this energy. So they're telling you to use it, but don't abuse it. So really think of what you want to use it for and then keep going for it, because they're talking about how the next 2 days, and they're being very specific right now about the next 2 days. The next 2 days are talking about an excess of energy floating around the collective that you can choose to tap into if you so wish. And this excess, this abundant, anything in excess is abundant, this abundant energy is yours for the taking should you wish to alchemize it and use it for what you wish to use it for. So, pay attention. Focus tonight on what you want, and then start working with it. Start making moves, even if they're just verbal and mental moves. Start making a plan, figuring out what you're going to do, and then actually do it. They're talking about this is your creation energy right now. Not only are you embodying, I don't know what this is, not only are you embodying creation, I almost want to go like this, but they're doing it like this. So almost like, I feel like it's more like a chalice, and this, to me, is more feminine. However, they're going like this. Technically like this. But anyway, they're talking about how this is something that you're doing right now, both inside of you, you're embodying it, and this is taking me back to the uterus, which is taking me back to the message about feminines being the filter like a week ago, or at the beginning of the week. I feel like the two are connected. Now that we're sitting here and doing this, I feel like the two are connected. So just keep that in mind. There's something about the feminines ushering in something different for this cycle. And then now the fact that makes sense, that the moon is tomorrow? Tonight? Moon's tonight. Yeah, and it's 9 o'clock on the clock. Ooh. Damn, girl. Like, you guys are doing everything, man. And don't get me wrong, the masculine, it's not that they're not doing anything, but they're still on the struggle of self. They're still in the middle of feeling your feelings, and you are leading by example. You are being placed to lead by example. Not only are you filtering, or have filtered out the collective and helped in your own unique way by filtering out the densities in the collective, because my transmuters are on overload the last week or two, but they're talking about how right now the feminines who are choosing to rise, because it is very individualistic and people do things on their own healing scale, so, but the people who are right and vibe with whatever collective we just threw, like, you're leading by example. You're not faking it anymore. I feel the need to tell this part of the collective, you're not faking it anymore. You just are. 32 matches in a matchbox, which is 5. I know it sounds crazy, but that's where they just pulled me to. You're doing it. This is your forward movement. This is the change. I feel like Keys says it all the time, be the change you wish to see. And I feel like I need to clap for somebody, because a large part of this collective right now, especially the feminines, you are putting your best foot forward. You are trying to do actual things. And you're being commended for it. So I would make your big ask. Under this full moon, I would make your big ask. It might not be typical of what people have you do right now. It might not be typical for the energies when we start working with moon cycles, but they're just talking about how the abundance of not only the cosmic energy that's kind of flowing through everything right now, but 1,000% the fact that it's paired with such a strong cycle right now, because they're saying the feminines are in an amazingly strong cycle. That almost like the sky's the limit, so they're telling you to think big on this one. Like, throw that Hail Mary pass that you're like, oh, that'd be awesome if it worked out, but, you know, divine timing, right? They're saying just chuck it down the field, because it's almost as if you can't miss. Like, I don't tell people that a lot. Like, I know that sounds stupid, but, like, I don't just go over here like, yeah, like, off from the hip. Like, no. But it's the truth, because that's exactly what they're saying. Like, if you got an ask, you better ask it now. And they're saying, like, ask it now, don't ask again. That's the way that they're saying it. Ask it now, don't ask again. Because you need to sit in the frequency of it's already yours after you ask. This is that type of knowing that is going on right now in the collective, that instinctual, intuitive, that gut just, nah, it's already mine. That's what they want you to sit in, but they're specifically talking about you picking your ask and having to ask for it in the next 2 days. So today, tomorrow, they're kind of saying Monday would be a little late. Like, my team's like, Monday's is kind of pushing it, but you can kind of work with the energies of what's left over. But they're saying, like, don't wait for the leftovers when the whole platter's on the table is kind of what they're talking about. Like, don't wait for the scraps to deal with of the energies that other people didn't use. Like, no. They're saying, like, grab it while it's abundantly flowing through the collective. While there's excess, when the electron... Like, I feel... That's just so weird. But they're talking about, like, when the electronics are going haywire, you know there's a lot of excess energy. And the people call it chaotic because it's unstructured. It flows without purpose. It flows without reason for a lot of times. And so they're saying if you can truly grab that excess energy and you can alchemize it, you can transmute it into what you need it to be, mint. They're talking like, they're bringing me back to, that was cold. They're bringing me back to, God damn, that was really cold. They're bringing me back to, when they're talking about the builder of worlds. This is that kind of energy. This is that kind of influx of things. They're just calling it creation energy. And you can use it right now if you wish. So, I'm going to be honest. They're just saying you can't lose. You can't lose. And I'm going to cut them off for a second and just let's reground everybody because I feel as though they're all hype team tonight, and I mean, I'm here for it. We're going to hype up too, but like, just know that whatever you get is not going to be on your timeline. I feel the need to tell people it's not going to be on your hard and fast timeline, so make sure that your ask is open-ended in the way that it's flexible. Make sure your ask sees the bigger picture. Chuck it out there and leave it alone. It's like the buoy in the ocean. It's not going to sink kind of thing. You just got to know that you threw it out the right distance. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the water references are, but welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. The list is open. We are doing reads today, and so if you want something felt into, you want a question answers, you just want to cut through the bullshit, and you actually want an answer that's not going to make you happy, but it's what you need to hear, we could do that. If you don't know what you want, you're like, Jesus, take the wheel. That's fine. We can do a general too. The list is open. It is 12/12, and we have Cash App and we have Venmo. Just if you donate, please make sure you come in and you let us know that you donated. Sometimes those apps are a little slow. I'm so sorry. Let me check. I'm so sorry. I was doing collect. I mean, I'm not sorry, but you know what I'm saying? Not sorry. So, Yenny and Erika. Is it like Yennefer? Like that, like The Witcher? Because if you have purple eyes too, that'd be awesome. Let me just check spaces. I will be right back. And then we'll go, that's fantastic, first of all. I don't even know you, and that's fantastic. And the fact that you know what I'm talking about, we're going to be buds already. All right, I'm going to check spaces. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. We got the list open. All right, thank you. So thank you for the roses. Thank you. All right, so I got Miss Yenny, and then I got Erika on the list. The list is open. We have Cash App, we got Venmo. Everything's 12/12 today. So if you want it, let's do it. I want to get back to people. It's a cool cycle, and everyone's doing awesome things. So thank you so much for the rose, Miss MaryJ. I want to say Blige, MaryJ Blige. I don't know why. All right, so should I plan to move back to Hawaii State, changing my job? I'll be moving back with my LDR boyfriend. LDR? With my landlord? No, that's LL. LDR boyfriend. Is it supposed to be like older, elder? Long distance. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I know you do that for like simplification of the comments, but I'm young, but like not that young. Not that young. Okay, so Should I plan to move back? Changing my job. So I'm just going to ask you for a clarification on your question just so that I'm asking it correctly when we toss. Are you asking should you change states, or are you asking should you change your job? Or are you asking both? Because it sounds like you're asking, should I change the state and my job? Or should I plan to move and then change my job? So I just want to make sure I'm asking it with the right connotation to it energetically so that we get the answer, because my team's a little bit of a fickle kind of bee. You know what I mean? So sometimes states and job. Me neither, girl. I heard that the other day, lol. Okay, so yeah. Alright, so here we go. Job and states. Wouldn't move without I wouldn't move without my job. Okay. So you want job and state. Okay. So we're gonna break them up, and we'll ask them both, but we'll ask them separately as not to get a muddled answer, if that makes sense. I'm gonna be honest, so before we even get into this, your team is right off the bat talking about your confidence, and they're almost saying lack of confidence in the relationship. Not the job, not the move. There's something about the lack of confidence you have in the relationship. And it's almost, they're talking about how you're almost finding a different avenue, because what if it doesn't? They're almost giving me the feeling like, what if it doesn't pan out? Not even just a relationship, like what if the whole thing doesn't pan out? Like what if it just, and then what do I do? Because then I'm there. And then I'm stuck. Like it's almost this like what if question that they're like having tossed out before we even toss on your questions, which is kind of interesting. They're talking about how your hesitation isn't necessarily with the move. So we'll toss on your question though. It's like weird though, because it's making me feel as though like it's not that you don't trust the person. It's not that you don't love the person. It's almost like a inner doubt that you have of yourself or the situation that it could work out. Like it's like a weird doubt that you kind of have that's a little bit deeper seated. And it's kind of coming up almost as like, well, but then if I do this, and then if it doesn't. So it's almost like worrying about the future, but based on some lack of self, something that you have kind of bubbling, and they're using the term bubbling under the surface. But let's ask your question. So should you move? So right off the bat, they're talking about how you're so up in your head. Like how you are so up in your head, and you are the thing that is your worst enemy when it comes to your thought processes and how you get at yourself and how things kind of spiral out of control. They're talking about how you own every part of that. And this is something that has been both your biggest asset because you are so in your brain and you can think your way around any problem and any issue, which is great. But they're saying sometimes the fact that you think is your biggest problem. And they're talking about how your hard work is enough. And it's going to lead you to find things when you start this move. But quite literally, you can't, it's like you can't see yourself in it. Like, you can't see yourself in it, and it's stressing you out. Like, to no one's belief, it's the anxiety of it all. It's almost as if, like, it's like almost as if, I want to say like you don't fit. It's like almost as if like you feel like you don't fit. These are the two cards we just came out, and this is how you sit. Very kind of in a little bit of anxiety, like almost like you just you don't, I don't want to call it like a black sheep kind of thing, because I hate those labels, but it's just like, it's something about like, oh, I don't know, it's like, it's not going to work out for me, but like, it's great, but it's not going to work out for me, because it doesn't work out, and it's like that kind of a thing. But I really feel like they're talking about this move, like, you're doing enough, your hard work's going to pay off, and physically pay off, but they're really stressing about the fact that this, you like all up in your head, like look, you're lacking strength. But I'm gonna tell you right now, these were the first 2 cards that popped out for you. Like, this is your hard work, your hard labor, your hard shit. And this is what everything's put out for you. This is abundance. This is physical abundance. This is joy. This is accomplishments. This is happiness. This is you directly on your path, and I feel the need to tell you, when it comes to this move, I almost want to feel like it doesn't give you enough breathing room. I feel as though you are somebody who needs there's that left out card again. There's that down, and you're missing it. There's that missing it. There's all these things above your head, and you're missing it. You're sitting there staring at the murky water like, shit. And they're talking about how your joy and your joy and your abundance is hid right next to your biggest struggle and your biggest, oh man. And they're saying, but the only thing is, like, you just don't turn your head to the left enough, or to the right enough. Like, and I understand I just did that backwards. It doesn't matter. They're just talking about how if you could just shift your perspective. And the reason I'm saying this is not only because we have the Hangman out here, but they're talking about how you feel trapped in this decision as a whole. Like, I almost want to say, like, you don't feel confident in what you're doing. It's almost too much freedom of choice that you don't know what to do with it. Like, you just can't. I'm going to tell you, though, when it comes to your job, not job, sorry. When it comes to moving states, they're saying your hard work's going to pay off. You don't need to worry about it. So, let's start asking about this job now. Your team's like, nah, let's go back to your confidence. Your team is savage. Your team is savage. Your team's like, I was like, all right, let's go on to this job. Your team's like, no, let's go back to your confidence. They're just talking about how you're transitioning through your burdens, you're learning kind of the idea, like you're becoming more aware. Maybe that's the way I want to say it. I don't think you're really at the learning stage yet, but you're becoming more aware of the fact that you're holding on to more than you should, right? I feel like you have this self-awareness about you, and specifically when it comes to your mind being, I'm going to call it overactive, because it's not benefiting you at the moment in the ways that it can, should you choose to tap into it differently. So they're talking about how right now you're bridging through your awareness in that you need to let some things go. You're bridging through some heartache of the past, and I really feel like you probably struggle not only with trust, I'm going to be 100% honest, not only with trust in others, which is huge for you specifically, but also for confidence. But I feel as though there's a little bit of like a commitment thing, like kind of like a, I can't back out. If I say yes, then what do I do? And then that's what's leading me to think that this is more of a I'm stuck. And this is why they're having you reach through this as a different perspective. They want to change the way that you look at things. Because there's this hard part of you who wants to move forward, wants to move past the hurt and the turmoil and some of the things that you've gotten into of the past. However, there's just like, I get this little kind of naggy kind of energy that just tries to keep you in that loop. And this is kind of what you're being called to not focus on, but you're being called to stand up to, and that surrounding your self-doubt. As we're talking about trapped, like, look at that picture as we're talking about trapped, like, they're talking about how things weren't always, I want to say sunshine and daisies, and I don't know why I want to say that, but things weren't always sunshine and daisies for you. Things were a struggle. Some things were difficult, especially when it came to family and trust and togetherness. Those were not things that just came naturally. When you were growing up, is what they were saying. Some things were harder, and especially as you started to grow up, some things just didn't fit. And then they're taking me right back to that I don't fit thing. Things are hard. It's hard for me be because there's like this scared wound, there's this fear wound, there's this lack wound that they really want you to look at. And they're talking about how you are accidentally or unbeknownst to you, out of your awareness, you're rejecting offers they're giving you. You're rejecting chances and opportunities before they've had a chance to sprout or grow, based on this wound. So they're just talking about if you can find a different way of looking at a perspective that's going to best suit you, it's going to help you in the long run. Now let's see if we can move on to this job, because I feel like that might have appeased your team. Although I'm gonna be real honest, they drilling you. They are drilling you. They're not giving up on it. Like, yeah, your feminine's over here like, we're gonna stay right here. But let's see if we can kind of get her on the same page. 919 on the clock. And let's see if we can push on to this job now. Oh hell. Yeah, your job's gonna be okay. And I mean that if you choose to wholeheartedly make this decision, it's going to be just fine. I have new emotional beginnings. It'll be a bridge for you. They're just talking about how you're going to have success out here, and they're bridging through success with not only good luck, but freedom, with a little bit of optimism. And they're talking about how being optimistic is sometimes hard for you. I feel the need to say that you probably see the truth in things, and the truth being a realist. And they're just talking about how I feel like, honestly, the biggest thing for you is going to be the transition. I don't even feel as though it's going to actually be the move or the job change or securing the job. I think it's actually going to be the transition of everything all at once that is going to be so off-putting that you're going to be questioning yourself. And they're just talking about you got to sit a little bit different. You got to stand. I feel like I need to tell you to stand a little straighter. You got to stand a little straighter, and you got to own your shit, because this is like you are right in the middle of doing something different. But they're just talking about you got to get all of you on board, and that includes your mind, that includes your heart, that includes your soul, your passions, because we have a lot of fire energy out here, and they're all landing kind of wonky, and they're telling me that the fire's there, the pilot light's on, but it's not ignited. The burner's not blowing full force, so there's something that has you hesitant, and you got to start looking at it, because you don't want to make a move out of desperation, and you don't want to make it in hesitation. You want to make it in full power, full knowing. And they're just talking about this confidence for you is going to be a key, but also the way you speak to yourself is huge. So because you're not somebody who readily speaks to yourself in the best way possible, and let's just get honest here, not a lot of people are, but they're just talking about how this is bridging you through and forcing you into like a kindness journey, forcing you into shutting down the voices that and the conversations that you have with yourself that aren't becoming of you, and means in the way that isn't ushering in the best parts of you at all time. They're just talking about there's going to be a lot of things that you find about yourself that you didn't realize were there. So whether you realize it or not, this may just be a job, this may just be a move. It's actually a whole life shakeup for you. It's an entire life shakeup. And I feel like we might end up bridging somewhere for a second. So they're talking about how what you're doing right now, yeah, as we're talking about the fire and your passions, they're talking about how we're doing right now, how what you're doing right now is creating your web. How what you're doing right now is making you a weaver of your reality in the biggest way possible. Because in order for this to work, you have to want it to work. So your team's being very adamant on the fact that if you go in glass half empty, it doesn't matter what they bring to you, that is how you will view it. Like, they are being adamant because of the will, and I'm getting poked in the back of the head, because of the strong-willed nature and almost like the force of your brain, and they're showing me like a force field around like the front and the back of your head, like in a circle. They're talking about how it doesn't matter what we give. If that's not how you see it, then it won't be. and you'll be projecting that energy in your, they're talking about like your new reality, which makes me feel like when you move, like your new day to day, when you move, that's what's going to be happening. Regardless of what they bring you, regardless if you win the lottery, there's going to be something that you're going to pick out and you're not going to be happy with. So they're just talking about you need to master your emotions. And the second I say master your emotions, we have you being the Queen of Cups is what they want you to bridge through. They want you to bridge through your heartache because they don't want you to be looking at your cups half empty anymore. This is something they want you to start addressing. So I would tell you that the move looks good. Queen of Wands energy. This is your passions. This is your flame. Like, the move and the job looks fully in your reach for you. It doesn't look like anything that's going to be bad or harmful for you in any way, shape, or form. But they're being 1,000% honest when they say the success of it entirely depends on you and what you're going to allow to seep in. I'm on shuffle right now, and something in the orange just came on. I think this is meant to be for you for right now. Well, Miss Yennefer, do you have any questions? I am going to scroll back and see if there's anything you commented. But do you have any other questions? Or do you need anything said a different way or clarified about anything we just talked about? I'm going to scroll. Thank you for the follow, guys. I'm going to scroll and just see what I missed. And don't worry, for anybody who purchases a read or anybody watching, whoever wants to rewatch, we post everything to YouTube. So it'll be time-stamped with your read time in the description so you can rewatch it to your heart's desire. And it's usually posted within 24 hours. And it's usually more like 3 hours. Jobs and states. I wouldn't move without my job. For context, you just moved... For context, you just moved from Hawaii to Florida in October for my job. Oh, so you just moved. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you so much for the follow, MaryJ. Yes, that's accurate. I'm very insecure about it because I have trust issues, but yes, that is it. I have a phobia of commitment. Yo, yeah. It's okay. You're not alone. A lot of people do. But it just proves that you've been in places that weren't kind. You've been in places and spaces that weren't kind. I'm always in my head and I get out of control sometimes. I hear my grandfather and some other guides through you. Oh, thank you so much. I am a medium. I can talk to past people, so it's entirely possible, and sometimes it does happen on here. And if they create a character, then I don't mind sharing it, but sometimes they orchestrate from the background, and if you have more than one, a lot of times on reads like this, I won't ask for specification of who's talking at the moment, because if my team's allowed them in and they belong to you, then we don't need to do the theatrics, you know what I mean? I don't need to vet them so hard, so as long as my team and your teams are like, nope, they're with us, so we just let them go, you know? But I can, so I would not be surprised. Hey, Sammy, how's it going, dude? Thank you so much for the follow. As your name is so hard to read. Velvet? It's either Velvet or Velvet Moon. Thank you so much for the follow. It's because the names are see-through. It has nothing to do with, like, anything else, you know what I mean? You know? Everything's spot in. Everything's spot on. I got everything. It was... Oh my god, well, thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad, Jenny, and don't worry, like I said, it'll be posted should you need to relook at it or you want to listen to it again. It'll be posted with your first name, you know what I mean? So you can look it up. It'll be dated and everything, so don't worry. Well, I'm glad that helped in some way, shape, or form, you know what I mean? Okay, so, Hey, Miss Patricia, we're doing paid reads today, and we have one on the list right now and potentially one more. I'm about to go check for Miss MaryJ. I'll be right back, guys, and then Erika, we're going to get into your reading, okay? Okay, I'm back. Just give me a second. I hate being gone for too long. I'm going to go check the other one. I just don't... Sometimes when the screen's blank, it gives me... Alright, Miss Mary. I have you on the list after Erika. Miss Erika, we're going to do you right now. I'm going to scroll back up to read your question because I saw that you put it down in there. No worries, dude. Like, seriously, this is what we do. Like, not a problem. Thank you so much for sharing your time, your energy, and allowing me to talk to your team. You know, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Erika, okay. Why do I have a connection with cadence? Thanks, I appreciate you. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Why do you have a connection with cadence? Oh, Lord. Let me get clarification before I start talking. Anytime we deal with ties, I like to triple check before I just start talking. I'm gonna be honest. It's purposeful. I'm gonna start there. It's purposeful. You're not just here for willy-nilly. And I feel as though it triggers your shit in ways that you didn't even realize. I'm gonna be 100% honest. Both good and bad. Both good and bad. Hold on, let me just... hold on. Let me just reread your question. Make sure I'm reading it right. Why do I have a connection? Why do I have a connection? Okay. Okay, hold on. She brings something to the table that you don't see. She brings something to the table for yourself that you don't see in you yet. I'm going to be 100% honest. It's not just an easy thing. I'm going to be 100% honest. It's not just an easy thing for you. You're like all up in your head about this, ain't you? This is like eating you, isn't it? This is like fueling an imbalance almost for you. I'm gonna be real honest. You gotta cut. This is layered. I'm gonna be honest. This is layered. This is not your first time meeting this person, and I don't mean in this lifetime. This is soul tied in some way. Now, I'm not going to jump to a label like soulmate, because they are talking about you learning some things through this. They're talking about you having to let go of some things and move forward in order to even attempt to grip onto this, in order to even attempt to have celebrations here, to have excitement and fun. You have to unpack. Like, they're huge on the fact that you have to unpack. They're calling it a friendship, but then we have this Lover's card out here, and it's face up. And there was the first card that hit the deck. And honestly, it's not screaming soulmate to me, but it's not screaming karmic. I'm going to be honest. I feel like you guys are tangled in one way, shape, or form, whether you realize it or not. And this person is going to be somebody who is going to bring a lot to the table for you, specifically. Like, a lot to the table. I do have the Ace of Pentacles out here. And I do have this ushering in a new beginning for you, a physical new beginning. Like, I feel the need to stress that, like a physical new beginning that's going to be prosperous for you, because right after it, we have the 10 of Coins. Like, right after it, we have the 10 of Pentacles. Your energy is wild. Like, your energy is wild, and it almost feels slightly, like, excited. Like, bouncing off the walls almost, but then also, like, super nervous. But then at the same time, it's like massive confusion, like all at the same time. And I really do feel like, I feel as though you're not always like a chipper person. Like, I don't know how to make that make sense, but I feel like you're not always a chipper person. And this is forcing you to take a pause and actually look at something a little bit more seriously. Like, I don't want to say you've never felt this way before, because I don't know if we're at that level yet, but there's just something about this person that you find alluring. Like, it lures you in. That's the way that I want to say that. It lures you in. And anything that's super luring, like luring, I know I'm saying that weird, but it's luring you in. Like, luring, it's pulling you in. Like, anything that's like that is usually indicative of something that's been there before. It feels familiar. I want to tell you that things feel easy. Even if you're not in a lot, of like contact, I feel as though this is gonna force you to kind of learn some shit. Like, I'm getting a lot of mirroring here. I'm getting a lot of illuminating your darknesses and you triggering theirs. I'm getting a lot of back and forth, to be 100% honest. There's a lot of self-discovery that's going to be wrapped up in this, and I feel like this is just a soul tie. I'm going to be a whole honest. I feel like you're tied to this person, and I feel like this isn't your first go-around playing this game, and I'm going to call it a game because I really do feel like they hunt for you. I really do feel like you hunt for them. I was going to say it the other way, and then I got corrected. I really do feel like they hunt for you. There's something about the game that you enjoy, and there's something about this back and forth that triggers your energy in a positive way when it comes to you, when it comes to your growth, when it comes to you being ushered into other things. And you getting out of your own way. Like this is imperative. Like, you getting out of your own way. I did just have the Lover's card pop out one more time with a completely different deck. Like, not even a tarot deck. But it's still not shouting soulmate. Like, it's still not, like, and I know that's a weird term, and people think about soulmate a ton of different ways. So, when I think soulmate, I think, like, destined. I think, like, you know, the one and only person. Like, I don't know. I just put it on so much of a bigger label than it probably actually is. But they're just talking about, during this, you're going to be ushered in to see, like, yourself in everything. Like, how actually truly sacred, like, you are. And how you blend together with things. And how things play off of you. I don't necessarily get this as being, like, a massive, like, yes, my forever. No, I get this as being a very productively healing, triggering relationship. Whether it amounts to nothing or not is completely up to you, and what you choose to do with your free will. But they are talking, good God, sugar boom boom. They are talking about how this is going to be a time for you to have to heal. Like, you get no options should you choose to do this. Like, it's gonna force your hand. You're not gonna be able to turn around. Like, you can always make a different decision. No, don't get me wrong. I'm saying you're not gonna be able to, like, turn around as in, like, turn the cheek. You're gonna have to. And there's just like this inability for you to kind of get back past something that has come up a couple times in a lot of different decks. It's like your inability to move past some hurt and some pain. And as we're talking about that, we have the Psychic Healing card out here, and we have the Peaceful Warrior card, and we have you in inaction. We have you in inaction. I'm sorry. Yeah, Z it is. I got, I'm doing Miss Erika right now. I got Mary, and then that's it on the list right now from the last time I checked. Yeah, this is ushering in more. This isn't about the person. I'm going to be honest, this isn't about the person at all. This is about your connection. This is about your growth. This is about your healing. And the reason I'm saying that is because not only do we have the higher connection card, I got the journey and I got the rebirth card. Excuse me, your energy's wild. Good God, I'm sorry, I'm a natural transmuter, so just give me a second. Your energy's wild. But, they're talking about the fact that they're calling this one a conduit. So to me, a conduit, is something that spirit or the universe uses in order to facilitate something. It's almost like a catalyst for change. It's almost like something that forces your hand in one way, shape, or form. I call it the inevitable, because at one point in time, we all meet our inevitable, and sometimes that looks like a physical person in a relationship, and other times that looks like a brick wall or us kicking our own ass. It doesn't really matter. But this is going to be your force into action. This is going to be your forced into action, and it's going to come pretty quick. I'm going to be 100% honest. On the backside is where they want you. They want you on the backside. They don't want you sitting in front of the decision anymore. I'm going to be 100% honest. They're talking about this being a lot of things that you have to work to overcome. And the reason I'm saying that is because they're really stressing the fact that you need to trust your intuition. And they're using the word intuition. They're saying it very, very harshly in the fact that they're not talking about your anxiety. Because both reside in the gut for you, specifically. Both reside in the gut, and they're talking about how sometimes your anxiety allows you to miss the red flags. Your anxiety allows you to skim over the issues or the problems because you have other things that you're focusing on, and they're just telling you don't miss it. The red flags are there, so there's something about this or the way that you feel that kind of has you like back and forth mentally. Like, I don't know, maybe, yeah, but they're asking you to feel into it, not think your way through it. Feel into it, not think your way through it. That's the hard work that you have to put through to break the cycle. To break the cycle that is you, paired with a little bit of strength. Because they want you to start taking back, almost like control, like to start taking back control. And I'm going to be 1,000% honest. I really feel as though this is going to be something that is going to usher you forward into more balance. And this is a tie, but it's almost like you guys kind of come here to do this. It's almost as though you kind of come here to play this game, and I call it a game, but nobody's playing. You know what I'm saying? He's not doing it for fun. He's not doing it knowingly, or she's not doing it knowingly. But they're talking about how this is going to be more of a triggering your healing event than a happily ever after. However, this is necessary on your journey to get where you're going. So it's going to force you to have to look at you because you've been avoiding it for too long, is basically the way they're saying it. You've been avoiding it for too long. So they're talking about how you got to go down to go up. So you got to go inward to be outward. That's the kind of thing that they're going to... Because they're not meaning to be mean, so please don't take it that way. Your team's not meaning to be mean, and they keep saying that over and over again. I'm not meaning to say it like this, but you're the type of person that learns a lot from physical experience. In the fact that I could tell you something, and now I don't mean just me, I mean anybody could tell you something. But the way it's really going to sink in is through physically learning it for you. You're somebody who has to kind of go through the motions and learn the lesson themselves, kind of thing, even if 10 people warn you about the lesson. And that's a good trait to have, to be honest. It builds your resilience. However, they're talking about because they know you function in such a way they've already planted your physical lessons. They've already planted your physical abouts. So that way you have a physical thing on the outside that triggers your inward revolution that then can be projected back outside of you to bring you what you actually deserve. Because they're using the D word, they're using deserve. Not want, not wish for, not need. You actually deserve, because they're talking about how what you think you deserve is far less than what you are actually worth. So they're going to show you on the scale what you think you're worth, and they're going to bring it to your door, and then you're going to go, hell no, after being there for as long as you need to be there to see it. And then they're going to go, okay, cool. They're going to test you one more time with somebody who's far below your worth, and then they're going to go, oh, okay. But this is purposeful. When I say this is purposeful, it's because they have a larger plan for you, but they're not willing to tell you the map for it. So, yes, you are tied to this person. They're admitting that you're tied to this person, but they're not putting a rosy label on it. So the soul tie is there. So the pull that you feel towards this individual is 100% there. This attraction, I kind of like a, I don't know what the word is for it. Almost like kind of like a I don't know. I want to say you find them interesting. Like, it's like an interesting kind of a fling thing. Like, you know, as opposed to, like, deeply in love. It's like a, kind of a thing. Like a curiosity, almost. Because of what you feel. But they're not harping on you for following your feeling. You're going to learn what you're worth one way or the other. Is what they're talking about. And they're saying, like, this person is going to learn as much from you as you learn from them for different reasons. Because they're bringing back that mirror, that what you give is something they can't receive, you know, and then what you get is something that falls short of what you're worth, is what they're talking about. So, good things are on the outside, but they're not owning this person as being, like, holy grail material, but they are acknowledging the tie that you guys have for the growth of it all. You know? You know? Let me know, Miss Erika, if you have any other questions. I'm going to scroll back through and just read the comments. And then I have Miss Mary on the list. So if you have any questions, you need something clarified, Miss Erika, just let us know. I'm going to scroll back through and see what we got. Casey. Oh, Casey. Okay, Casey. She's like a crush of mine, LOL. I have a crush on her, yes. Hey, Miss Tanya, how's it going? She's like a crush of mine. I don't know her personally. Just through social media. Just FYI. I paid for reading. Okay, Miss K. So true, LOL. Yes, Miss Z, my list is open. Will I be dating her? Sad face, smiley face. So, I can't pull on her energy as far as her free choice, free will decision. I can pull on your greatest, highest good. There's a chance. But regardless, they're talking about if she chooses, because it's still her choice to say yes or no. It's it's going to result in a tower moment for you. Like, it's going to result in a tower moment for you that is going to trigger your shit. Like, trigger your shit in some big ways, that it's going to force you to look at things differently, and it's going to force your hand on a new emotional perspective, to be honest, in order to usher in your stability, your foundations. And then they're talking about how this card over here is talking about your karma and how things won't end well. And the reason I say it won't end well is because they're talking about your perceived dreams being broken. The kind of having to, on the bottom of the deck, pick yourself back up again and keep moving. This is meant to be a lesson for you, regardless if you date or not. It's not meant to be your forever, is the way that it's coming out in the cards. Not what you wanted to hear, but 100% what you needed to hear, apparently. So I'm sorry, but that's what they're saying. Thank you, Miss Erika. I hope that helps. And like I told, 9:49 on the clock. So if you needed more confirmations, like I told Miss Yenny, everything is posted on YouTube. Should you want to listen back to your read, it'll be time-stamped and dated, so that way you can find it and all the good things. Oh, thank you so much, Barbara. How's it going? All right, Miss Mary, I have you on the list. Let me just check spaces, and I will be right back to do you, Miss Mary. So if you're here, go ahead and get ready. All right, Miss K, I have you on the list after Miss Mary. Thank you for everyone who's in here. Thank you for everyone who's tapping that screen and spending time with us here tonight. Is much appreciated. Thank you for all the gifts and all the follows. Miss Mary, are you still here? Miss Mary, are you still here? Alright, perfect. So, Miss Mary, do you have any specific question or topic that you would like felt into, or do you just want a general? No, nothing came up, and I didn't get any comments between when you said I am and the one that said did you get it, and I didn't have anything that seemed like it was blocked. I have you on my list, though. I just need to know if you would like to do anything good happening soon, money or job wise. Let's split the questions as not to get confused. So, we'll start with job, because one might answer the other. Alrighty. Anything good happening soon, money or job-wise? So, anything happening soon, job-wise, for Miss MaryJ. have things been really tough job-wise? Have things been an issue, like almost like a struggle for you in that area? And I don't mean because you're asking that question, because when I initially read that question, I didn't get a lot of bells and whistles as flags. It didn't have a real strong energetic connotation on it when I read your text. However, it's kind of coming out as you having to have really balanced your shit. And you having to really figure out, like, almost like make it or break it, both emotionally for you, but mentally with anxiety and stress and pressure. And I get the feeling of, like, having to literally, like, get back up on your feet and having to keep going. And they're just talking about you've accomplished a lot. And they're calling you kind of independent. So I don't know if you feel like sometimes your independent struggle is a little bit too much to carry, like a little bit too much to keep trying to keep moving. I almost feel like you're trying to build like a perpetual motion machine that like people tell you is impossible. This is that kind of energy. It's like you're trying and struggling so hard for independence, for purity, for abundance and things like that. And it's like you're just kind of, I'm going to say, shrouded in a little bit of like despair, a little bit of grief is the way that I want to say it. And it's just like it every once in a while comes knocking on your door. Like, that's the way I want to say it, because I feel like you can put your game face on, but sometimes, you know, sometimes it's like the regrets of things or the stagnation of things is really what keeps you kind of held up here. So they're just kind of highlighting that right off the rip before they answer my direct question. That is what they're highlighting here. But they keep talking about like your commitment. Like your commitment to things, your commitment and hard work to things is what they're kind of lending to. The need for like you to be your own like self-motivator kind of a thing. Like, I feel like you don't have many cheerleaders and they're talking about the belief in self that you can do it is going to be huge. So I don't know if you're currently on the hunt for something or if you're just seeking in general. But as we're talking about your determination, like, shut up. As we're talking about your determination, the determination card. And they're just talking about how you kind of have lost a little bit of, I don't want to call it faith, but it's like you're kind of on that precipice as to, I don't know if I'm going to have faith today or maybe tomorrow, or I don't know. And it's like this back and forth that it's like 1 minute you're like, yeah, and the other minute you're like, all right, like, this ain't it, like, help me. They're just talking about you like need to start kind of ushering in the fact that you have to be able to trust that where you're at is leading to better things. And they're really talking and they're calling for you to start using your manifestation, for you to start using your knowing and your energy in a positive way. And I feel the need in order to form better opportunities is the way that they're kind of giving it to me. And they're talking about how you have like a lack of patience. And I don't mean that in like a negative way, but they're just talking about how sometimes you want what you want and you want it right now because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable when you don't have necessarily everything that you want or need. And they're just talking about how it's coming. It's still in the creation phase. So as we're talking about jobs, the better thing is coming, but you have to be willing to kind of get out of your own way in order to receive it. And when they're talking about it, I feel like they're talking more about your regrets, your like hard like stuff that you're putting on yourself right now. Like your, I don't want to call them burdens because that's not really how they're making me feel, but it's like you're like nagging that you're not doing enough, and like that self-pressure. Maybe that's the way I want to say it, like your self-pressure that you're putting on yourself, because it's coming. Like, I need you to understand this. So we have the independent wealth here. So you create it by yourself, right? Then the creation card came out. Like, you're creating, you are weaving, you are putting things together for you, right? Because you're your independent wealth maker. Right? Then we have the 10 of Pentacles. So it's coming to you. It's coming to you. Are you going to be able to see it though when it arrives? Right? Or are you going to allow things to tell you what they are? You know what I mean? In your lack of balance, are you going to be able to have the pause and the patience and the trust to see it when it lands. This is what they're talking about for you. And I got one card now at the start at the bottom. Now we're here. The Empress. You're birthing something new. Like, you are birthing it. This is paired with your success out here, but this is also dependent not only on completion, like we talked about earlier, but this is dependent on your inner balance. This is dependent on your perspective to things. This is highly dependent on what you choose to facilitate in your reality, what you choose to have happen. Are you following your intuition? Are you doing everything you can? Are you letting go of things that you've allowed to stop you? This is the kind of energy that they're harping on. So yes, physically, yeah, you can make the movement move. This is what they're saying, because you've always made the movement move. You've always been the independent, I don't want to say breadwinner, but you've always been the independent breadwinner in the fact that you didn't have it, you went and got it. You were coming up short, you made it work, you went to go do something else. And they're talking about, in this way, you're going to be fine because you have the ability to make it work for you. This is a learned skill. And they're talking about your struggles right now are temporary. And I feel like the fact that this is upside down is temporary. It's striking me as bad luck. It's striking me as like temporary woes and struggles. But you're bridging out of it. Like, you're bridging out of it. It disrupts your structure. I feel the need to tell you it disrupts your structure with this job aspect and with finances and things like that as a whole. It disrupts your structure. However, I also feel the need to tell you that when this is upside down, it's pulling me away from teacher mode into know better. And it's placing you back in student mode, right? So instead of teaching somebody what to do, you're learning the lesson. You're currently in the process of doing so. Now, I do have the Page of Pentacles out here with the Ace of Pentacles. So to me, this is saying that pages to me are messengers and it's coming forward. Now, I'm going to be honest though, Pentacles are slow moving. Pentacles are your steady by nature kind of facilitation of things. So this is not going to be a fast, hot, and dirty. It's not. It's going to be one of those things that are going to take time to cultivate, but it's coming. But I'm going to be real honest, the dragon's sleeping. I don't know if you can see it. The dragon on this card is sleeping. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Miss Allie. Yes, ma'am. My list is open. I'm doing Miss Mary right now, and then I have Kay, and that's my list at the moment, but it is still open. They're just talking about how you facilitate what you need right now. You facilitate what you need. So if you tell this is so awesome. This is so awesome. When we talk about, like, you speak your truth and you speak into existence, you create your own reality, this is exactly what they're talking about. So, you could be this, your Nine of Swords, right? Like, you could be this kind of a thing. We have Cash App, we have Venmo. I'm sorry. We have Cash App, we have Venmo. Links in the bio. You could be this, right? In your head, wishing about how you could be up flying with everybody else and this is something you can't achieve and you can't do. Or you could be the Nine of Pentacles. Both are 9, right? Both are the same thing. Both are a mirror image of each other in one way, shape, or form. And you can be fully abundant, living blissfully. Or you could be over here with a lack mindset, like it's not coming. This is how you judge yourself. This is how you view yourself, and your worth is directly reflected in your outside, in your beginnings. This is what they're talking about. So they're saying right now, how you choose to view things and what energies you entertain on the inside of you is directly reflected on the outside of you. So they're saying that it's fully within your grasp, but if you're impatient in waiting for its slow arrival and its slow, purposeful growth so that it's actually something that you can cultivate and, like, pretty much harvest, because when it arrives to you, it's going to be, like, fully there. So they're just talking about how, yeah, it's coming and it's going to be fruitful and it's going to provide for you in abundances and it's going to check all the boxes for financial abundance and it's going to be a better situation for your career or job than you currently have right now. But they're just talking about how it's not quite there yet. It's still in transit is the way that making me feel like it's not right around the corner. It's not like you're going to wake up tomorrow, but it is directly paired with the way that you view a lot of things. Yeah, so this is my little pocker. My pocker, what was that? My little pocket deck. This is bringing all the pieces together. So, like, this is you stuck, trapped, right? This is you stuck, trapped. It's 12/12. This is you stuck, trapped. You got your eyes closed and you can't see, right? Like, you can't see your way out of it. Things just seem really tough right now. But this is what they're asking you to do. And I know it might sound really cheesy, but there's a vine from the earth, right? Grounding in your heart space and connection from source. And you're surrounded by the four sides, but the four sides is also indicative into being perfectly balanced because it is a diamond, because it is equal in its sides and in its angles, and the way that they're talking about it being a square, they're talking about you have to balance a lot of things on the inside of you in order to be fully connected in the heart space to what you're grounded in doing in the physical. So they're talking about how your heart and your intention and your wants and your dreams are led directly from your connection with Source, God, the universe, creator, like, right, like your path. And they're just talking about how you're still bridging that connection into applying it in your reality in the 3D, which is why it seems like it's dragging on forever. It's because up top, like I call upstairs in the upper realms, in the whatever, energy moves so much quicker. Things actualize in the other realms, in the 5D, in the higher vibrations, in the higher frequencies, whatever you want to call it, whatever your label, it actualizes up there first, and then it's reflected down here. As above, so below. Like, right? So they're talking about how you can realize that that's something that you need. You can feel it with your soul, but it's waiting patiently, knowing it's already happened in one place, so it has to happen in the other place. That's your patience and your trust in the entire process, but it's also your trust in you that you're not messing up. So they're just talking about it's going to take time, but it's coming. So I don't know if sometimes you feel a little impatient in waiting, but they're just telling you don't have to feel impatient in waiting because you're doing everything you need to do right now. Like, you're doing it. It's just changing your mindset into the fact that it needs to hurry up. So they're saying the more you chase it, the more you perpetuate the chase, right? The universe wants to give you everything it's accommodating. Like, the way I teach it, it's accommodating, right? So if you say you suck, the universe is like, you suck. If you say you're abundant, the universe is like, you right, you abundant. And you'll be surprised how much that energy flows back to you because it's cause and effect, it's reciprocation. It's part of the laws that we're taught. So they're talking about how you kind of need to change your perspective and start balancing out not only your emotions, your energy in motion when it comes to manifesting, but also the fact that you're overcoming a lot and it's already happened, so therefore it's already yours. I know that's like one of the cheesiest things to say and it's not helpful to people, but it really is when you learn how to use it correctly and you can alchemize it in the way that you need it to be used for you. So they're just saying that, yeah, it's coming in, good things are coming, but it's not going to be a fast turnaround like you were probably hoping and wishing for. It's going to take a little bit more time. They're almost kind of saying like set it and forget it kind of thing. And then you're independent enough that you can make anything work in the meantime. Like, that's the way they're saying it. Like, it's tough, but they're saying if you just sit in that frequency of you already have it, it's yours, it's gonna be yours faster than you can realize how long you didn't have it. I know that sounds weird, and that sounds like a very far out kind of thing, but that's just what they're saying, is that it's coming, just not on your timeline at all. Like, it's a slow growth thing, and you're looking for tomorrow answers, is the way that they're saying it. Miss Mary, I'm going to scroll back. If you have any questions, or if you have anything you would like clarified or anything, just, go ahead, drop it down. I'm going to scroll back and see if I missed anything from you while we were doing that whole thing, Thank you so much for the follow, guys. Thank you for all the likes, all the taps. Yes, I hate them. Yes, I hate them. Exactly right. I'm very independent, always pushing through and want it now. Yes, Miss Allie, my list is open. I have Cash App, I have Venmo. It is 12:12. I just finished with Miss Mary. I have Miss K, and I think I just got a buzz in on somebody else, so I'm going to check that space just in 1 minute. Okay, I'll check for you for Venmo. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, I'm gonna be honest, with the amount of like non-burden heartache stress cards that in my mind I would read in that way. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, they're not even talking about like the burdens that are placed on by responsibility. Like, that's not what they were talking about. They were talking about your stress level and the stress that you are placing on you more than anybody else, more than any physical environment or situation. Like, it's all you placing that on you. They're talking about how you have had like a lifetime of being like resilient and being they're calling it like a hard work go-getter. I'm hearing the word go-getter. And they're talking about how you've done that so many times that it's second nature to you. So yeah, pretty much it's already on its way is the way that they're making it feel, is like it's already on its way. It's going to take a second to get there. Like, it's going to take a second to get there is what they're saying. But I always tell people, like, the whole goal is to do what you have to do. So if you have to make a move in the meantime, I always tell people to do it, because you can't miss what's for you. So if they're saying it's already coming, nothing you're going to do in the meantime is going to mess it up. Like, I feel the need to say that. When it's already headed your way and coming, you physically can't mess up the shit that's for you. So if they're saying that your job happiness and your financial abundance and stuff like that, your physical abundance is coming your way, because that's Pentacles. That's all physical abundances, right? Your physical abundance is coming. It's coming. A lot of times it's the fact that it's here in smaller areas and we're missing it. So sometimes, a change of perspective, right? I'm already abundant. Perfect. You're drawing it closer to you as you breathe. Fantastic. But then it's like on top of it, how if you're not waiting for it, then you're not chasing it either. Right? And when you chase things, I don't care who you are, I don't care why you're chasing it, it's going to run from you. That's its innate ability. You chase anything, guarantee what you're chasing is going to run, even if for a little bit. Like, so it's like, why are we pushing it further away? So they're just telling you just got to sit in the knowing that it's already yours and it's just landing. Like, that's the way I want to say it, because they're making me feel like it's divinely dropped on purpose for you, which is why I'm saying you can't miss it and you can't mess it up. So if you feel like you're being called to do something, to change something up, to take a risk, just go do it, because it's part of it, right? They're not telling you to put your life on pause. Patience isn't pause in the way that you don't do anything. That's not patience. Patience is not checking on it every 5 seconds and not trying to hurry its timeline up. That's the patience they're talking about. Thank you so much for the follow. Hey, Melissa. Oh my God, no worries. Thank you so much, MaryJ. Okay, so thank you for allowing me and your time, your energy, and your space today. So I have Miss K on the list. I am going to pop over and check spaces, and then I will be right back. Names under Jordan. Okay, no worries. Alrighty, so yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Alright, so I have Miss hold on. Let me just get caught up. My screen's all messed up. My screen's all messed up. I have Miss Allison. So I have Miss K next on the list. Then I have Allison and Jordan. Is that correct? Let me know if anybody else sent in. You know. So Miss K. So Miss K, do you have a specific question that you would like felt into? Or would you just like a general? I'm looking for clarity, career, and move wise. I feel clarity, then move, end up lost and confused. A lot of decks. I use this one, which is Elemental Wisdom Tarot. I use this one, which I use for clarifiers sometimes because I think it's fun. It throws some pretty savage clarifiers. I use this Animal Oracle, which is pretty cool. It just has like a basic word, but the images are awesome. I believe I use this Slavic deck as well. Slavic Tarot. Everything I use on this table specifically is also going to be posted in the YouTube video where I repost the entire live in its entirety and timestamp it for everybody on our YouTube channel. But every single tarot deck and oracle deck that I have on the table minus the custom card deck that I made, the way I read it, is going to be in our products links page. So if you ever want anything that we're using here product-wise, it's on our website. We have a product link page where you guys can look at it and it'll give you like the Amazon resource for it so you can buy it should you like it and stuff like that. I think those were the ones that I think I might have used this one too. This is my Shaman Oracle as well. I think I used that one, the last one. So I hope that answers that one. Miss K. So, it kind of does. So you just want clarity on making a move career-wise. Like that's just what you want. You want clarity on making a move for your career. It's the second part that I don't. I think you're just talking about. Yeah, no, I love them. I'm a visual person, so I need the artwork for sure. I mean, I don't need the artwork. It's just a want. I find it more fun. I shouldn't say need. That's not right. But I definitely enjoy the artwork. Like physically relocating. Okay. We're gonna have to split that question. So should you relocate? Like in your greatest highest good is relocating in the cards for you, and not only in the cards, is it a good thing for your greatest highest good right now, in the now moment? I'm gonna be honest, Miss K, your energy feels mad confused today. It feels very all over the place. I feel like half of the problem is you. And I mean that in the best way possible, because if you're the problem, then you can fix it. I feel like half of the problem is the way you sit and stew. They're talking about sitting and stewing on something for too long without inaction. It's like the person who researches the research and then keeps researching and never pulls the trigger. This is the kind of stewing energy that they have you kind of sitting and stewing, and almost to the point where you confuse yourself. Like almost to the point where you question your question, which was questioning something else, which questioned something that someone questioned. Like this is that type of like circular thinking pattern that they're talking about has been a struggle for you, in the fact that you can play 20 rounds with yourself again and again and again and end up with a different answer every time. And then when you realize just that you have no answer, then they're talking about, then you're like, then you get to the give up part. And then that repeats your cycle all over again, is what they're talking about. It repeats your mental cycle all over again, to where you are your biggest adversary when it comes to making decisions, either when there's no choices, or in your mind there's too many choices and none of them you like. That's the way that they're saying it. But as far as this career, let's look into it. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm not sure if I'm going to look at the screen to view the answer or not. I'm still debating that. But they're talking about how you have this King of Cups energy out here. And I'm not sure if this King of Cups energy is somebody that you're currently with right now, or if this is the idea that you need a stable King of Cups in order to do what you need to do. Because directly after this King of Cups energy, they are showing your perspective on things. And your perspective on things is not a bright, shiny perspective. Like, your perspective on things right now is not abundantly flowing, is not doing all the things. I have the Seven of Coins in reverse, and they're talking about how this is not how you see it. Like, this is not how you see it at all. Like, things are topsy-turvy. That's the way I want to put them, is topsy-turvy. And you're viewing yourself as being more restrained than free. And that's the way I want to say it. More restrained than free in what you're doing. I feel the need to tell you that these two things are something that you might be unaware of before you even look at them, because they fell face down, not upside down, not right side up. They fell face down. And for some reason, coming off of this Eight of Swords, where she's clearly blindfolded and is restricted in some way, shape, or form, I feel as though this is something that might be out of your realm of awareness, which is the blindfold, and it's something that you're not yet keen to. And as we flip them over, they're talking about almost like your lack here, but your lack of balance, your lack of understanding for self. I feel as though they're calling you back into self. I'm going to be 100% honest. They really want to talk about the ways that and they're saying the word undercut. They're saying the ways you undercut yourself is what they want to really start talking about here. They're talking about how you kind of act as your own, agent in the way of being a ninja. And when I say that, I mean you undercut yourself when nobody's looking, is the way that they're saying it. When all eyes aren't on you and when nobody's around, you undercut yourself. They're just talking about you needing to balance these things out first. I do have 2 pages out here, so we are moving into some brighter things. We do have the potential for a lot of foundational success, and when I say foundational, I do mean rooted in the physical. I do mean pentacles. I do mean physical abundances. But they're just talking about how sometimes you get stuck in a little bit of hopelessness, how you get stuck in a inability to put things into action, is the way that they're talking about it. So when they're talking about careers, they're talking, when they're talking about careers, they're talking about how almost like the inspiration is there, but the forward action isn't always there with the correct amount of energy behind it. Like, not just going through the motions, but the being excited about it. They're talking about you kind of needing to kindle up some passions a little bit more, and you kind of needing to like kindle forward some other things as far as it comes into like this job perspective. Hold on. Let me reread your question one more time, because they're drawing me to something else. I just want to let you know I'm not reading any of the other comments. I'm just rereading your question at the moment. Looking for some clarity on career. Looking for some clarity. Physically relocating. They're talking about how you're the one who facilitates the change. And I know this is so cheesy, but it's the truth. They're talking about how you're the one who facilitates the change. And for you, it's going to be letting go of something to receive something. That's how it works for you. It's going to be unexpected financial changes. It's going to be unexpected new beginnings that have the potential to be a huge loss. I feel the need to tell you that have the potential to be a huge loss, and that is going to be the perspective on which some might see it. And I feel the need to call it that because they're talking about how it's going to seem, transmutation, it's going to seem as a little bit of almost like a gamble. It's going to seem a little bit as a struggle in the beginning, this move. But they're talking about you can build your, and you can't make this up, that card again. They're talking about how you can build your bridge out of it. You can build your happiness exactly where you're at, and you can bring it along. And they're just talking about, weren't we just talking about your fiery, passionate energy? I could have swore we were just talking about it. Well, it just came out here, and they're talking about how this is something you need to start cultivating before the move happens. Like, they're talking about how this is going to happen paired together with some of your releasing, some of your moving forward, because you can't bring new things, or can't bring old things into new places, because then you can't be the new you. So they're talking about if you want this move to go well, it's going to be paired with your healing. It's going to be paired with letting go of the things that no longer serve you. And because I have two of my pages, that is your childhood. That is your emotional, foundational things. And the reason I'm saying that is because not only are both the pages both young, they're naive, they're innocent in their nature, and they're usually someone indicative of a younger age. And when we're talking about self, we're talking about our child self, our teen self. But I really feel, because they're using the word rooted and grounded, they're bringing me back to your root chakra really hard, and they're bringing me back to your sense of security. They're bringing me back to your sense of self, your sense of trust, your sense of safety, because this is what you need to redefine, and you need to come to terms with your sense of safety from your child's perspective, because that stimulated a lot of the emotional burdens that you've held on to for a large part of your life. And this is why a lot of times you don't feel fulfilled, and you don't feel abundant, and you don't feel right in the middle of your enlightenment, or your new beginning, or your chance for a prosperous future. And they're talking about how sometimes that's not things that you readily can admit to yourself almost. So we have the 5 of Swords out here, and they're talking about how this is you kind of getting in your head. Like, this is you fighting your own battle, and we have it paired out here with the Devil card. And the reason that the reason that they're doing this is because this is one of the things that is stopping you. It's your mentality. It's how you view things as being stuck, right? As being stuck, as being trapped. When in actuality, this has the potential to be you. The passionate, the fiery, the creative, the making shit happen kind of feminine. to where you can be fully balanced in your pentacles, but they're talking about how this is upside down and you're kind of holding on too much to things that no longer serve you because you've outgrown them. You've outgrown these mental constructs, you've outgrown these ideas because you've been shown something different. But there's a part of you which is linked to your child self. There's a part of you, and in your root, in your foundations of who you are, there's a part of you who just can't let it go. And that's okay. We all have something that we need to go back to, but they're telling you got to go back to it. Because then you can make this right. Because they're talking about like almost you have... What was it you that we were talking about? Too many options, but not good options. And we have this out as a bridge. Like it's like almost too much going on at once for you to make a decision, right? Like there's a lot of cups here. They're overflowing, but it's out here as a bridge. The cups are flowing, but it's you're not seeing them like that. You're seeing them as a burden of too much going on to choose. It's like almost in the idea of being a distraction. And they're talking about how you're moving into material gain, but you have to have emotional happiness to be having happiness in material things outside of you. Otherwise, it's always just going to be like a little bit lackluster is what they're talking about. We have the Pentacle out here again, and we have the Death card out here one more time, and they're talking about, with this Hierophant out here, they're really talking about the fact that you had to go backwards to go forward. So you are truly somebody that has to go all the way back to foundations in order to rocket forward. Whether you want this to be the case or not, they're talking about how this change in career is only going to happen when you let go of things, because they're not going to plant you in something new if you're harboring things from an old space. And weren't we just talking about how this Hierophant was really you being the student, really you being the hermit the whole time? This is exactly what they're talking about. You have the ability to have emotional abundance, emotional fulfillment in your Nine of Cups. But they're saying that in order for you to have that type of fulfillment, you have to go back to 8. So we start with 9, you have to go back to 8 and rebalance your stuff out. Because there's a lot of things that you're holding on to, and you can't accept things if your hands are full. This is what they're talking about. So if your luggage is, your suitcase is what I call it, your luggage, your baggage is full, then you can't accept new things. You can't pick up new things and run with it. And you're not going to enjoy what they bring to you if you are still living off the old you. If you're still living off of the triggered you, if you're still living off the survival, fight or flight you, if you're still in the mindset of how you used to be, you can't do new things in an old space. Your energy at that point would be an old space. So they're talking about the need to refreshen and re-alive your energy up again so that it best, they're saying like best associates with you in the moment. So who you are right now is not what you're harboring from the past anymore. So they're talking about you need to go back before they're even bringing this in for you. I'm going to be 100% honest, because they're saying you wouldn't see it if we did. And this is the not watering the abundances you're given, right? This is the going back a little bit. But I'm feeling the need to tell you that this is something that is easily turned upright. Like this is something that's easily turned upright, and then you're watering and you're in a 6 of victory. That's the way I want to say it. That's the way they're pulling me to say it. But they're just saying, like, right now you can't see the cups half full. Right now you can't see that you're abundant. Right now you can't see that you're happy. Right now that you can't see these things. And because it's like this, that's what they want you to change. Because they're talking about, like, when this comes, they want you to be confident. They want you to know that this is it. What did we just say? Change of perspective. You got the Hangman out again. But, what? Shut it. This is that confidence. This is your Wands energy. This is that confidence. This is exactly why they're talking that you need to go back, because you can't see it even if they dropped it on your doorstep today. Right now, signed, sealed, delivered, it wouldn't appear that way, and it's like you would miss it. You would get lost in the options of it. You would get lost in the everything of the energy that you wouldn't see it before you as that. So they're saying you got to go back. You got to go like all the way back. Foundation, sense of security, self, child self. back down to foundations, and change your perspective, not only on what you currently have, but you, right? Because you can only accept what we can only accept things outside of ourselves to the level that we've accepted them inside ourselves. And this is what they're challenging you to do, because you can't accept something that you don't feel worthy of. So that's what they want you to go back and fix. And when I say fix, I mean loosely. They want you to readopt it back. They want you to look at it from a fresh lens, from an adult lens, you know, get back buddied with your child self, you know. Miss K. I'm going to scroll back through here. If you have any questions or anything, go ahead and drop them down. If you need anything clarified, go ahead and drop them down. I'm going to scroll right back, and I'll be back down to you. Yes, Miss Leo, it is. Yes, it is. Okay. I don't know what Talk just did. Looking for clarity. What deck did you use? I don't know if you remember, but I'm in a shelter with my kids due to DV. Trust me, I never remember. I rarely remember anything. Trust me, I know I'm trying to decide, but nothing feels right. Thank you so much, Miss Violet, for all the gifts and the love. Thank you for all the support. Nice seeing you. Nice profile picture. You changed your profile picture. Nice. Way to go. I'm a visual person, so I notice that. It's not weird. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow, Pandora. Thank you. It is much appreciated. I feel like an imposter. I keep being shown / told I'm intuitive and a healer and I need to go forward. Being those things doesn't look... Yeah, that's the truth, though. Like, he speaks the truth. Like, that's so individualized for each individual person. Like, that's the thing, though. If you keep being shown something, you have to ask yourself, why aren't you doing it? It's usually based on a fear, and a fear is based in the root chakra. More often than not, it's at the foundations of your safety and your security. Whether that's how people are going to perceive you, whether that's, is it going to be a more financially stable place for you to be? It doesn't matter, but you can't heal people if you're not healed to a certain aspect. I don't think we're ever healed, but you can't be helping others if you don't realize these things within self. So if that's what you want to do, that's why they're calling you forward, because if that's the career you're looking into, then healing starts with you. The healer heals themselves first to a certain level, and then the healing is perpetuated through their life of other things, like, because I truly believe we're always a student, and everything and everyone has the potential to be our teacher if we're a good enough student. So they're calling you to say, if you're intuitive and you feel as though healing is something you would like to get into, you got to work on healing yourself, right? You're going to be your best student. So if you can't heal you, how are you expecting to heal others? And a lot of our healing is done by example. It's done by giving space. It's done by aiding others, giving them tools and confidence and helping them maneuver through it. A lot of times it's not actually physically putting hands on somebody, even though energy healing is a thing. And yes, you know what I mean? That's why I feel stuck. I intellectually feel okay, but my body is having panic attacks, and spiritually I keep getting messages I'm missing something, and I don't know what I can't remember, what I can't remember. Just start at what you can remember. The problem is you're placing your focus in the wrong area. You're placing your focus in the things that you can't control. So you cannot force your brain to release something that it's suppressing in its mind, right? In its mind to best suit the vessel. So when people forget things, it's because our brain tells us that was too traumatic for our body to experience and continue on. Our brain finds it harmful for the body to remember. So it chooses to suppress it. But it's not forgotten. Your energy remembers, and that's why you feel the way you do. It's in your subconscious. You know what I mean? So start always with what you can remember. And then go from there. I don't want to be a healer anymore. I have a calling, but I don't want to do it. I'm sick of being the one that fills everyone else up while I'm constantly drained. So that you just need better energetic hygiene because you're not giving to yourself. Rule number 1 of healers is you have to give to yourself first. It's the most selfish thing that we have to do. Like it's part of our journey. That is part of being a healer. It goes against what you think you're supposed to do until you do it, and then you realize why it's so important. You can't pour from an empty cup. So you have an empty cup right now, and you're attempting to do whatever and pour from it. You can't. You can't pour if you have nothing. So you got to fill you up first, and you let people put their cups under your cup to be filled by the overflow. That's how that works. So if you need to take time for you, you need to do it. So I would suggest starting working on some hard energetic hygiene. We have a couple posts on the website if you want to start working on energetic hygiene. There's like a whole section I think that's on spiritual practices, tools, and hygiene, I think. But there's a lot of simple things that you can do to make sure that you have a full tank in the beginning of every day. You know what I mean? Something really easy as recall, protection with energy. You know what I mean? Like releasing what's not yours. But a lot of the burdens you're carrying inside your vessel are yours, but from a period in time of which you're no longer living. You know what I mean? You're not a kid anymore. You're no longer living your childhood. But energetically, that's where it's stuck. I'm being led back to confront my mother. And that's the only foundation I haven't touched. Well, but see, you already know what you need to do. So don't quit jumping around it. Just start there, right? You got to confront the fear. You either face it or you keep on moving. And I just had the Tower card that just tried to flip out over here. So you're just being called to face yourself and to face your fear. Yeah, Tower card. Face yourself and to face your fear. So that's where I would start. If you're being called to your mother, then start with your mom. That's the easiest answer. And you already know the answer, right? So you got to ask yourself why you're not putting it into action. That's what they're calling you to do, is to put it into action. You're smart enough to know where your problem is. Everybody is. But it's the point where it's like, if we know what our wounds are, if we know what our problem is, if we know what our troubles are, our energetic baggage, our core of our, healing is at, and we're refusing to look at it. That's why we got to ask ourselves, why are we choosing self-sabotage? Why are we choosing avoidance? Why are we choosing to relive our story again and again and again and again? You know what I mean? But peace isn't for her, it's for you. It's for you. So if it's still a problem for you, then you haven't made as much peace with it as you think. And some things are layered. Sometimes we make peace at one layer, and then we have to go deeper later on. Because that's the part of evolution of healing. They're not going to have us dive right to the base a lot of times. You know what I mean? And it's just seeing things from different perspectives. As you grow, so does your lens, so does your perspective. So something you might thought was squashed might not be squashed for you. I would go all the way back. You know what I mean? Miss Allison, are you still in here? Are you still in my room? I have Allison and Miss Jordan. I have Allison and Miss Jordan. Yeah, yep. Is Miss Allison in here? No worries, Miss K. Let me just make sure I'm getting that name right. Yeah, is Allison in here? Alright, yeah, okay. Alright, I was just making sure. I didn't see you. Miss Allison, would you like anything, do you have like a topic or a question you would like felt into, or would you just like a general? Whatever you need to hear. Oh, okay. Alrighty. Alrighty. Ms. Allison, can you do me a favor and can you ask your team for permission to feel into your energy? My team's just kind of made me aware of the fact that your team might not be entirely comfortable. So I just want to have you ask them for me and kind of give me permission and kind of, ask them to do the same just for the time being while we're doing this. So that way I can attempt to make a better solid connection than the current one that I'm given right now. So if you could just take like 2 seconds and just, I know it's going to sound silly, but just like confer with your team and just let them know that this is something that you're okay with your energy, your will, and then maybe they'll be a little bit more allowing, because I don't want to work in energy if you or your team has hesitations. Just let me know when you're good. I'm going to just wait, you know what I mean? Just let me know when you're good. Give me like a thumbs up or something. Alright. Do they have you on on watch right now? Do they have you on watch, or are they just always protective? And I like, a lot of people's teams are protective. That's not what I'm saying. But like, are they always like a little bit suspect about people in the beginning? And do you find yourself being suspect about people? Because they're kind of talking about how they're calling your mind like a mental fortress. This is the way that they're saying it. They're literally saying a mental fortress. Like, under lock and key is 100%. It's giving me like shield and sword and like axe 1,000%. Like almost like, don't touch the president. Like this type of this type of energy. I just want to let you know. I don't think you boys were happy about having to kind of stand down for a second. So hopefully just through this they get a little bit more comfortable. My team's like, probably not. Probably not. But we're gonna see and go ahead and see what they have to say for you. Sorry, my dog was licking her paw aggressively. Holy hell. Holy hell. Holy Lord. Hold on. I'm going to clarify something before I say something. Are you having a hard time accepting you? Like, what you're doing, the reality of things, who you are, what you are? Are you having like a difficulty in accepting exactly who you are? Because I really do feel like you have you have the death card out here, and I really do feel like there is this transformation that's attempting to happen for you, but I really feel like you kind of battle it mentally. Like it's there and maybe sometimes it's clear and then it's like, yeah, we're going to shut it down. Like it just seems as though there's like a lot of new things hitting your door. That's the way that I want to say it. And the reason I say it is because they kind of have you like all over the map, like all over the place. But it's like things are hitting you like no one's business. And I mean that in the best way possible. Like a lot of ahas are hitting you. A lot of self-realizations are hitting you. A lot of past understandings are hitting you. And it's like you're almost breaking free of this cage that you've kept yourself in for a long time. And they're talking about how you're moving on. You're moving forward. You're making forward movement. And you're bridging through a ton of spaces. And it's happening rather quickly for you. I feel like tell you like the news is traveling. Like the news is traveling, and I feel like this is partly to do with why your team has you a little bit on lockdown, and you keep yourself a little bit on lockdown, whether you realize it or not. They're physically talking about because you are transforming so many things so quickly. They're talking about that right now your energy is at its most vulnerable. Like it is at like. They're kind of showing me like a crustacean, which is kind of weird. But I think they're just lending a crustacean because the hard outer shell, which now makes more sense. But they're talking about how you're your most vulnerable when you're shedding. And that's the way they're kind of saying it. Like you're the most vulnerable you when you're shedding. So when you're going through a transition, and because they're pairing not only a mental transition and a freeing of a lot of emotions, and specifically a freedom of trapping yourself in not only outward relationships, but in with a lack of love relationship within yourself that you've confined yourself to. But they're also talking about like new mental clarities and mental realizations paired with a physical new beginning being ushered in with all of this wrapped into one. They're just talking about because everything is happening for you so quickly and you're getting like this sense of renewal almost, and this sense of like peace and kind of like I'm almost gonna call it like your like it's like actually like a fresh start. Like it's like a whole fresh start for you. Like if somebody could have wiped the board clean and be like, nope, we're not playing Monopoly anymore, and threw it off and like, we're going checkers. Like this is what they're doing for you. It's a full restart. Like that's like, but it's a restart because you're doing things right. It's a restart because you're letting down things. However, they're talking about like how sometimes you have a lot of emotional insecurities about yourself, about your choices, your decisions, and like where this is taking you. It's giving me kind of like belly butterflies, almost like I don't even want to call it anxiety. I want to call it almost like anxious and a little bit like agitated over it. But they're talking about how you're bridging through your healing, and they want you to really start acknowledging what you're feeling, because they're saying you're very good at thinking what you're feeling. I think I'm feeling, which is the funniest sentence anybody could ever say. I think I'm feeling. But they're talking about how they really want you to trust what you're feeling. And they're talking about before how you were kind of, we're going to say emotionally immature, but we don't mean it in a weird way. We're like in a mean way. We're talking more about how you were kind of just not used to using it correctly. So it came out messy. And it came out more like a ticking time bomb where it just exploded one day. And it was like, ah. And it came out with like a whole hella mask on, and it was like, and it was like a ball of chaos just running around the room. That's the kind of emotions, like you didn't use it to your benefit, and a lot of times it was what people would call more the negative emotions that busted out. And they're talking about specifically surrounding family, or your idea of family, or that kind of together community presence and stuff like that. But they're talking about you're working through your healing journey right now. And they're saying that the reason you're doing so well right now with your healing journey is because you're giving yourself a little bit of slack. And when I say a little bit, I just mean like a little bit. Like, you're not giving yourself a lot of slack. Like, you're just giving yourself a little bit of slack. They want you to give yourself more slack. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're talking about how there's almost like an imbalance of how seriously you're taking things versus how much fun you're having. Because they want you to start working in the fun. So they're talking about how you've taken yourself seriously for just a little bit too long, to where they want you to get back to almost enjoying your existence as well, and not just like going through the motions anymore. And I feel as though this is something, as we're talking about getting back to the fun, as we're talking about getting, this is the sun. I know it's hard to see because the light, but this is the sun card. And your physical emotions. Weren't we just talking about your emotions? You are right now working towards your happily ever after. That's the way I want to say it. And you're ushering in this new beginning with your King of Cups. Like, ooh, let's hold the cards here. You are ushering in your new beginning with this King of Cups energy. Whether you planned for that to happen or not, it's happening. And they're just talking about how this is something that you've had to bridge through a lot of work, whether you realize it or not. Like, I feel like things just kind of fell together. Like, that's the way I want to say it. You put in work, hell yeah, girl. Like, and I feel like I'm being called back to that, like, Nako song. It's like, hell yeah, that's my vibe. Have a seat at my table. Like, whatever that is. Shut the front door, sit your ass down. Like, that song, whatever that one is. Is that Feeling My Feelings? I don't know. It's one of them. War for the People, Feeling My Feelings. It's one of them. That would be funny if it was Feeling My Feelings, though. Keys would know it. But they're just talking about how because you've done a lot of that, it's allowed you to usher in a lot of new things for you. I feel the need to tell you you're not quite in your Queen of Wands stage. You're still bridging through it. I'm getting you out here as working towards your fire, working towards your passions, but you haven't fully embraced your strength. You haven't fully embraced your power yet. Like, you're not fully taken up the lion stance. You're not fully taken up the space that you deserve as far as self-worth quite yet. And I feel the need to grab these cards. But it's coming. They're talking about the need to really show yourself, not only like self-love in a lot of different ways. We got that joy card out again, so they really want you to start mixing in some happiness here, kid. But they're talking about how metamorphosis. What were we just talking about? This was like a whole new transition for you with the death card. You got the metamorphosis card in a completely different deck, so please know that's confirmation. But they're just talking about you need to nurture yourself in a way that is going to be fulfilling for you. Like, joy and nurturing is what you currently need right now, and you need to show yourself some damn grace. Like, I feel as though you have an awareness right now, and I could be wrong, but I feel like as though you have an awareness to what you're doing. I feel like you have an awareness to how you feel, how you act, and that's great, but you also have an awareness to your pitfalls. You're a very self-aware person. I want to tell you, you're a very self-aware person, and some of your pitfalls is never giving yourself a break, never cutting yourself slack, never allowing yourself to be less than the desired perfect. And they're just talking about, like, it doesn't happen overnight, and you need to, like, give yourself some serious breaks here. You need to seriously show yourself some much needed, like, pats on the back. Does one of your guides have, like, a musty smell? Does one of your guides have, like, this musty smell? I don't know if you get it at all. It kind of strikes me as, like, I don't know, sweaty? It's weird. It's a weird smell. I don't know. It's very manly, musky. Like if you were like a dock worker without the fish smell. I don't know how to make that make sense. But just a very interesting smell. I feel the need to grab my dragon deck. Okay, well now I'm scared to flip over that. But okay, shut up. We literally have believing in yourself. We literally have believing in yourself and gathering your power. So if you needed if you needed any more confirmations on this is what you're doing right now, literally lighting your ass on fire. Like, literally lighting your ass on fire, cultivating your inner strength. And this is taking me back to where I said that you're not quite fully embracing that Queen of Wands energy, that mature, passionate. I feel like you're really just still in that in-between of bridging the space to becoming your passionate, your fiery queen. And I cannot stop saying that enough. I really feel as though you're still bordering a little bit heavy on your masculine energy, in particular when it comes to masculine and feminine inside of you. I feel as though because your masculine is so, I just keep wanting to use the word resilient, but like battle hardened, maybe battle hardened is the way to say it. Like, because your masculine's so battle hardened, sometimes, knowing his limits is not the best thing when it comes to you. Knowing where he should sit down and where she should stand up is not always the easiest when it comes with your energy. So I feel like sometimes his innate want to just charge in and be in control and just continue to do his thing is something that really is a struggle for you to have to balance and work through. So I feel like sometimes finding where his limits are and finding where things would be best handled using your feminine energy. And feminine doesn't always mean like your submissive energy. No, like, please don't. No, definitely not. But there's just a different type that he is learning kind of when he needs to move and when he needs to sit it down. Because they're talking about a long time you've been functioning off of him in the way where he has made most of your decisions. And he has charged forward in the mental thought processes and in the loops and all of the rationale and the fight or flight. And they're talking about now your movement being more purposeful. They're using the word purposeful for something that you're undercoming. And I feel like I need to just toss this deck. Jesus. Hold on. I gotta clarify a card. They just keep talking about your balance, like your fine line, not only between your masculine and your feminine on when to stand up, when to sit down, when to utilize one, when to be quiet. Like, they're also talking about your need to kind of harbor and kind of hold on to things versus your need to release, but also your need to be structured versus your need to be like untamed and kind of wild and flying by the seat of your pants and doing what I'm told because I feel like it. And they're talking about this being like a tug and go with back and forth in you. And they're just saying, go with it. They want you to go with it right now. I feel as though water would be really helpful for you in order to get a flow. 12:01 on the clock. In order to get a flow for you, water would be extremely beneficial. So when you take showers with the intention of creating stability and flow in your life, but also within the energies inside the body. If you feel overwhelmed, you can stick your feet in water. You can run your hands over a faucet, and let the water hit your wrists. That's the easy way to do it if you're not physically in the shower. But whatever you choose to do, we do want the water to be moving. So you can use water in that essence, but they really want you to start going where you're pulled. So if you're pulled to do something, go do it. If you're told not to do something, then don't do it. They want you to learn the barriers. Like, it's almost like the edges of where things are, the edges of, whoa, that was really too wild, and wow, that was really too stuffy, too controlled. Let's see if they want you to know where the edges are so that you can find the balance. Like, you have to experience the extremes so you know what the good balance is, right? So they're telling you right now during this healing, they want you to allow yourself without controlling it. And they're saying this is going to be hard because you're going to question it. You might control it a little bit. You might try to, think your way through it. They don't want you to do that. They want you to feel your way through it. And there's something about the feeling for you, which is going to be really nourishing. I feel the need to tell you that if you're not speaking your truth yet, just buckle up. Because I feel as though your throat chakra's been dormant. Maybe dormant's the word. Dormant at times when you just want to speak your truth in a healthy way, or you want to say something that you're just like, I could say something right now. They're just talking about you're going to get to a point during your healing before you reach the quote unquote balance stage, where you're actually going to kind of be triggering some people with what you have to say. And they're talking about this being a thirst for a lot of your self-expression, a lot of the things that have kept you confined. This is part of your chaos energy. This is part of your creativity. This is part of you being untamed. This is part of your freedom that you're going to be cultivating in one way, shape, or form, whether you realize it or not. And they're talking about you creating your own home in your vessel. So I don't know as though you've been somebody who maybe always hasn't quite felt at home as who you are or who you had to be or something like that, but they're talking about finally making your vessel a home. So I don't know if you're someone who's longed for something different or always just kind of felt out of place. They're saying that you're going to end up creating your security within inside yourself, so that no matter what's happening on the outside, you're your own security, and this is going to establish a structured foundation of your energy, and I'm just talking light body here, your energy that is allowing you to do and say and be what you please at any given moment. So if you find yourself overwhelmed, because now they're talking about you being overwhelmed in different societies or different areas of the collective, they're talking about if when you get into these areas later down the road and you find yourself being overwhelmed in these types of things, what's going to end up happening is that you're going to have the security you need inside self in order to not be knocked off your square, not be knocked off the balance beam, and you're going to find it a whole lot easier to quote unquote cope than you would anywhere else, because once you're secure in yourself, they're talking about if you can cultivate this type of security, then it'll be all you need regardless of where you go or what situations you find yourself in. And they're saying you find yourself in. And they're saying it kind of in a weird way that makes me feel like you find yourself in some interesting situations all the time. They're saying it as though like you're not a troublemaker by nature, but trouble finds you. Welcome to the club. Join the club. I can relate to that. So if that's the way they're describing you, you have a lot of things ahead of you, because as you go on this journey, you're going to be drawing things towards you, whether you realize it or not, because the second you start clearing up these energetic pathways, you're going to start illuminating your light in a whole big way. And when we start illuminating our light in a really, really big way, people and things start coming to us like moths to a flame, and they're just talking about how this is going to be a big shaker-upper for you in your life, and what you think your life is going to look like a year from now is not going to be what it looks like, is what they're talking about. So they're just saying be prepared, because even though it's not going to look like what you think, it's going to be everything you ask for, and they're being very distinct in saying that this is 100% you on your purpose. This is 100% you doing what you need to do right now in this type of a healing transition, in this type of a new beginning, like to the nines, where everything just seems to be happening all at once. It's because you move very quickly, and because you move very quickly, they're able to stack things on you because of the strength that you work, and because of the level that your body and your light body functions. And I don't know if you know this, but this is not your first time doing this. If nobody's ever told you you haven't been here before, you've been here before, and this is why you're able to move through some of these things a little bit quicker. And while they're able to pile on, because you've lived a life up until this point that has held a lot of burdens, and a lot of them have been self-placed. So they're talking about because they've been self-placed burdens for you, they're able to stack on more and more and more because they know you can handle it. So they're saying if you ever get to a point where you're like, okay, just give me a second, you can tell them. They're being very honest and saying that you can tell them. But then someone's being coy and like, oh, I'm not saying we're going to change it, but you can tell us. But they're just talking about how they're going to prove to you just how strong you are by what they throw at you. And they're saying they're doing it on purpose because they're tired of you not seeing yourself, is what they're saying. And this was like a collective, like 2 days ago, maybe, back to the not seeing yourself. They're talking about how they are forcing you to see you the way that others see you, your strength, the hiddenness to you that you might not have realized. So I'm going to be real honest. They're talking about buckle up. Buckle up, strap in, because there's a lot of good things coming, but amidst the good things are going to be a lot of hard times. And the hard times are going to be what shakes you up, but it's just so you can learn the extremes of both. So you can learn the extremes of both the excess and the lack, so that you can cultivate what balance you need in between the two, is what they're saying, kind of in the midst of it all. I don't know if you're getting head pressure lately, or headaches maybe, but they're kind of pressing on like the upper frontal right-ish, top of the head, when they're talking. So, I don't know if you talk to your guides yet, but I feel the need to tell you that, like, if you ever do feel a bunch of pressure up here, and then I almost want to go diagonal, and I almost want to go behind the ear, almost like on the base of the neck, kind of jawline kind of, behind the left ear, so right front behind the left ear. It's almost like a diagonal. I would tell you it's directly related to your team, and the only reason I say that is because it severely intensifies when they're talking, versus just feeling into their energy. Yes, ma'am. So that could be something that you'll notice, their signs getting more amplified as things start falling together for you. So they're falling apart to fall into place. So if you feel like there's been some turmoil right before the new beginning that's 100% purposeful, and you feel like you woke up and you're just a different person, you ascended a lot, you transcended a lot, a lot in your sleep, the last couple sleep cycles. And if you weren't here in the beginning, I feel called to tell you that the collective was probably for you too. In the fact that, I don't know if it was this live or a live or two ago, they were talking about the abundance of excess energy occurring over the next 2 days. And they're saying if somebody's trying to ask for something, ask now. And I feel as though this excess energy, both cosmically that's flowing around, but also, solarly related to the sun popping off like no one's business. There's a lot of excess energy, and they're talking about how the divine feminines have the ability to utilize it, and whether you realize it or not, you actually are a transmuter. Whether you realize it or not, you have the ability to alchemize energy should you choose to use it in a certain way, and they're telling you that energy is yours to grab should you want it. So you can use the abundance, the excess energy right now in the collective that's flowing freely, and you can turn it into what you want. So if you feel like you're getting bursts of energy, fantastic. You're probably already utilizing some of the collective energy that's abundant right now, and they're just talking about how this is something that could further kind of push you forward into what you're trying to do and what's already being presented to you. And it'll kind of help lessen the resistance, but they're saying you got to be careful because you need to tell the energy what to do, so you need to give it a direction. You know what I mean? If you absorb it without a direction, it's going to disrupt you, is what they're talking about, because it's going to cause chaos, confusion, because the energy is going to be swirling. But if you can harness the excess energy and give it a direction, just point it somewhere and let it go, you're going to find that you're going to end up being more energetically abundant. You're going to be more fruitful in what you do, and there just is going to be productive. They're using the word productive. 11:11 on the clock, because it told me to look. You're going to be more productive in what you're trying to cultivate with all of these new beginnings happening at once, and the new you that is now being unleashed onto the world. Miss Allison. Please let me know if you have any questions, or if you would like anything clarified. I'm going to scroll back up and just read anything you may have dropped in the comments. If you need anything clarified, or if you have like a branch off question on anything that we talked about, go ahead and drop it down in the comments. Told them what's up. That's so funny. Yeah, sometimes, but also me as well. More so me. Laughing faces. Well, your guides are you and you are them, so I'm not surprised if you feel them and they feel you in that way, and you play off each other. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. I'm going through a lot of new beginnings, or wanting to anyway. Oh, they're happening. They're happening. I feel like a whole new person. Well, I mean, good. Then that means you're pulling on stuff that you need to be pulling on. So fantastic. I don't think so. Hello, Miss Sherry. GL, how's it going, home dog? How's it going? Thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you for all the roses and the badge. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was everything I needed to hear. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. Miss Brittany, we can do a read for you if you would like one. I have Miss Jordan on the list next. We're doing last call, guys. So if you guys would like to get on the list, it is 1212. We have Cash App, we have Venmo. So if you want to get on it now, go ahead and put your stuff in. And then we're going to close the list. Could you elaborate more on working with water? I can. Hey, David. I can. So, the elements are all alive, and because the elements are also our beginnings, like our humble beginnings, when we start talking about our core, our essence, it's broken up into 5 elements. It's earth, air, fire, water, and then ether, space, spirit, whatever you want to label the 5th element. It's all basically the same thing, depending on what culture you come from and where you pull that understanding. So when they're talking about you using water, they're talking about in the way of structuring the flow of your energy and releasing you from the excess energy that would be hindering your flow. So sometimes when we have too much energy and it's stuck or stagnant, specifically when it comes to the mind, because water is seen as a calming element. Sometimes using water, especially over the crown, can help wash away the excess, and excess would be chaotic. So it'll help wash away the chaotic energy, which is your air element, and it'll help balance out the two on the scale. But then when we're talking about a lack of movement, it's usually too much earth energy. Not all the time. Depends on the situation. But in general, it's usually more density, and one of the most densest energies as far as elements go is earth. So in a way to liven up earth, you have to move with a fast moving element, which if you're more inept to being heavy in the mind, I would steer you away from air, because we don't want to trigger your mind loop to happen, and we don't want to trigger, a constant thought that then all of a sudden you take off and you create mental stress and anguish and energy and chaos. So the other flowing energy that I would choose would be water, because it has more physical movement. Air is sometimes hard to work with for beginners because there's no visual element to it. It's sometimes hard to see it. You can see the wind blowing by trees and stuff, and it can be felt, but it takes a little bit more skill to go outside and tap into the air element. So a lot of times, if we can get the other senses involved in when we start working with elemental energies, it's really helpful. So if we can get a visual sense of water flowing, if we can feel the water flowing, if we can taste the water, like that kind of stuff, it gets all of ourselves and our feelings and our feelers kicking in the on position. And it's just an easier way to get the chi, the prana, your light body, and your energy flowing more. So you can do water grounding, and that's what I was talking about. So if you go in the shower, you can talk to the elements because they're living things. And I know it sounds crazy, but everything's energy and they're living beings. So you can ask the water for help and assistance. So if you ever have stress, you ever have a headache, it's great for headaches. If you ever have a headache or you just don't know what's going on and maybe grounding hasn't worked, you try to go outside, you try to breathe, try to stick your feet in the grass, or maybe it's just really chilly and you're like, nah, F that. You can take a shower, let the water hit over your crown, and you can ask the water for assistance. You can ask what you need. Can you assist? Can you help pull away any energy that is of excess, any energy that's hindering me? Or if you have a headache, you can use your visualization. You can picture whatever your headache being as being cloudy in nature and not bright shining, more dull, more foggy. And you can envision when the water flushes, it pulls it down, and it pulls it down away from your body, it pulls it out through your feet. Or you can physically, if you're good with your energy, you can physically start working with the water, absorbing water energy, releasing other energy in the body. You can strike up a communication with it. I know it sounds silly, but when you work with energies, it's actually pretty cool. You can strike a conversation with it, and you can ask it for assistance. And it actually works. I know it sounds crazy, but it actually works. And I've not had water ever say no to helping. But the key is we just want it flowing, because we don't want you to be sitting in stagnant water, especially when you're just beginning to work with elemental energies. We don't want you to be sitting in stagnant water, because if you're not trained, keeping that type of energy that you're releasing, right? Your problems, your burdens, your whatever, your excess, close to you is sometimes hard to differentiate between the energy, because your discernment might not be there. So, sometimes in having it flowing, not only are we creating the motion and the energy with the flowing of the water, so we're creating the movement. We don't have to manifest the movement. It's already present in the energy being used with water because it's flowing, it's moving. So we're kind of get like a little twofer. We're kind of cheating a little bit. So we already got half of it. And then because it's flowing away from you, it's exiting, it's leaving. So you don't need to put any undue pressure or stress or focus on removing it. You just have to focus on allowing. So for people who are beginning to work with elemental energies, or who don't work with me privately, I always tell them flowing water, you know what I mean? Because it's easier to focus on and it's easier to be understood that way. So if you have too much earth element, you're too heavy, you're too solid, you're not moving enough, you can find that you're stagnant, you're kind of maybe you're a little espresso depresso, that kind of stuff. You're bored, you're whatever. That usually means you have too much earth element, in its simplest form, you know what I mean? So we want to liven it up with flowing. So that's the reason I said water, because they were talking about it being an aid for you, specifically. So you might have water in your chart, but I think they were getting more at the fact that they want to get you more in control to where the energies work for you without getting too scattered in the mind because you're very mentally inept. So you can get off kilter pretty quick. So I think that's what they were talking about. I hope that answers your question, Miss Allison. I hope that helps. If you want like one-on-one help with like in-depth working, I have private spaces that we can do that, but it's not like a simple thing. Like, I'm going to be real honest. Like, you have to cultivate it. Water's easy because it has the flowing element to it, but elemental energies are simple, but they require a certain level of understanding of yourself and your own energy, in order to work with them successfully and not be discouraged. So we could do it, but it wouldn't be a one session type of thing. It would definitely be something we'd have to build on. So if that's something you're interested in, check out the website. There's a lot of good articles on there too that you might find interesting that are free. You know what I mean? Don't cost anything. But I hope that helps. Miss Jordan, I'm going to check the list before I start with Miss Jordan. And if nobody else is added, then the list will be closed. So Miss Jordan, just get ready. Alrighty, Miss Jordan, Miss Lily. So, is there anything in particular that you would like me to feel into? Yes, I know. Or is there anything in particular you would like me to feel into, or would you just like a general? It's totally up to you. It could be a question or it could be a topic. I feel as though you have a question or a topic, and I feel like that's the reason I'm saying it. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Thank you for all the love, all the support. Thank you for all of the gifts, the taps, the follows, the shares. It is much, much appreciated. While we're waiting for Miss Jordan, if you have never been to the website, please check it out. It's a great place for learning. It's www.ChildOfBalance.com. There's over 100 free articles and posts, and we post 3 times a week on the free tree of knowledge. There's services, there's a handmade shop. You can earn points by becoming a member. Membership is free, and I will never make it cost you anything, and I will never spam your shit. But it's a great place to build community, and should you ever need our help or assistance, we're right there if you need it. So just go ahead, check it out. It's in the link tree in the bio. It is www.ChildOfBalance.com. We're on Insta, and we're also on the YouTube. And for anybody in here who has gotten a read, all of your readings will be posted tomorrow. It'll be posted on YouTube with the date, and everything will be time-stamped in the description. So you can re-listen to your read to your heart's desire, and I never remove them. They will be there, and you'll be listed by first names. So does scare? Oh, does S care? I ghosted my boundaries, healthy now. What? I don't understand your question. Does S care? I ghosted my boundaries, healthy now. I don't understand your question. Are my boundaries healthy? Do they work for you? If your boundaries work for you... Hold on. I'm being redirected. Hold on. So, I'm going to be honest, they're talking about, they're sitting here redefining healthy right now in my space. They're redefining healthy. And they're talking about gameplay. They're talking about playing games. And they're talking about how I don't know if you're going to want me to read for you. Because they're talking about how some of the boundaries you set are games. And they're linked to deeper things for you than the face value of it. They're talking about how boundaries are healthy, and they're being very distinct. They're talking about how boundaries are healthy. Everybody needs boundaries, and they keep saying it that way. But they're saying weaponizing boundaries is not healthy. So let's see what they're talking about. They're kind of out here talking about how you're kind of bridging through emotional stability, and not that you're emotionally stable. They're talking about how you're bridging through to it. How this is something that you're trying to cultivate, this balance of inner emotions for yourself right now. They're talking about how sometimes you can be, they're saying rash, almost a little bit unjust is what they're talking about in some of your decision makings. And they're saying how sometimes you feel as though, I don't want to say someone's forcing your hand, but it's almost like you feel as though, I don't want to say to make a point. This is really odd. This is like an odd reading. But they're talking about how sometimes you feel almost like a victim to things, and not like in a bad way per se, but just that almost like this feeling of being stuck or trapped in your decision making. And they're talking about sometimes when you have this type of an outlook of being that like somebody caused you to do something, sometimes what you end up doing unintentionally is taking away your responsibility from the actions that you're taking, regardless of what they are. And they're talking about sometimes your intentions are not as pure as you think. And they're talking about how sometimes because you embody this quick action kind of a person, in the fact that you can be overly defensive, and in the way that you move with a lot of fire energy in you. And what they're saying is sometimes fire can be beautiful and it can be creative and it can warm you like the sun, or it can be devastating and it can burn you like a forest fire. And they're just talking about how sometimes when you utilize it, it's not always the best technique and it's not always for the right purpose, is what they're saying. So sometimes you end up causing damage where you didn't mean to cause damage. And they're just talking about this being some of your karmic balances that you're currently bridging through, because they're talking about right now, like this is starting a new cycle for you. As far as your boundaries go, this is starting a new cycle for you. And they're just talking about how it's kind of tough, because it's like in one aspect you're protecting your energy in a sense, but then they're also talking about how in another way sometimes you're too quick to kind of sting. Like they're taking me back to bees. Like you're too quick to be a wasp, and you're a little too quick to sting sometimes. And sometimes things are disguised as good notions, but not always coming from the right place. I'm not really sure what we're talking about here. Yeah. So, I don't know if you made this most recent set of boundaries that you're talking about for the right reasons or not, but they're talking about how you really need to go inward and ask yourself why you chose to set boundaries like this. And I'm getting it more in the way that you did it, not even what you set. Shadow movement, more in the way that you said it. They're talking about you kind of harnessing your magic, and your magic being your power, your magic being your intuition, your magic, again, going back to that essence, that flame, but every single card out here is upside down. And I'm being told to leave them as such. And they're talking about how there's almost like this misunderstanding sometimes, like this kind of skewing to what you're receiving and what you're picking up and how to handle it. And I'm getting pulled to the fact that the magic card is a little bit leading me towards child self, and it's leading me more towards the immaturity of energy and how to handle it, is what they're talking about. Now they're pulling you through to cycles, and they're calling you inward to reassess, and this is what they're talking about. They're talking about you going back inward, and I do have my Sweat Lodge card out here, which is all about self-discovery, but it's also about being led and being shown what you need to see, regardless of what you want to see. And they're talking about your need to look at you with objective eyes, so from way in the back. And they're talking about how sometimes the choices... Jesus Christ. Sorry. My dog jumped off the bed and I'm in channel and I can't see with my physical eyes, so just give me a second. That was my bad. Sorry. Just give me a second to reestablish. So they're just talking about how you're kind of in the middle. You're kind of in the middle of this child perspective, and this child perspective being this immature perspective in the fact of sometimes how to deal with what you're being dealt. And they're talking about how this is welling up some deeper seated emotions, and this is why we're being called into the Sweat Lodge, because there was something that this bumped up against that made you feel like you needed to defend and fortify, which was fine. and they're saying there's nothing wrong with that, but they're talking about it kind of pulling on another need, and it's feeling almost the need to be, I want to say, seen, to be heard, to be worthy. Like, I'm getting a lot of like this lack of self-acceptance, self-worth, self-love in the way of like seeking it from others as like a validation, and then it's like it either doesn't happen, so your hand is forced, or it's to the point where you're surrounding yourself by the wrong people on repeat, asking for something that they can't give you. And this is this card out here. This is the I'm stuck, and it's in reverse because you're trapping yourself. This is part of the learning the lesson, and this is directly talking about how we got the Devil card out here too, by the way. This is directly talking about with this, what is this, Queen of Swords? This Queen of Swords energy, and they're talking about how the way that you think and the way that you operate is a double-edged sword, because it cuts you just as much as it cuts somebody else. And they're talking about you can see it in the way that you stew on your decision afterward. They're talking about you mentally stewing on your decision. Like, this is this paired together. This is your lack of mental clarity surrounding decisions and choices that you have made recently. And when we're talking about this fire element, this is what you're doing. You're like trying to harness it, but it's not quite working. So then what do? You do your logical masculine and you pull the plug. Like, that's what it feels like. You do your logical masculine and you pull the plug. And they're just talking about when you do this, you're not out here in victory. And the reason you're not out here in victory is because you're not feeling it. Your wands aren't on fire. When you have to pull the plug, you feel defeated. You feel like you made, it's almost like this, like buyer's remorse, almost like to where you do it and you're like, I don't know if I did it. Like, it's one of these things. And they're just talking about how whatever your most recent thing was, I don't know if it was 100% on the up and up or you did it to spark a reaction, but they're talking about how whatever your boundary setting just was, how you need to relook at the reasons why you truly set them. Did you set them to trigger a response from somebody, or did you set them because they were needed for your health and your energy, is what they're talking about here. I feel the need to pull out this deck for clarification, just to clarify what we're talking about here. Yeah, they're talking about this tower moment for you, this realization of the situation, this is kind of what you bridge through, and they're talking about there's like this Emperor energy, which is almost like in reverse. It's kind of like someone who's kind of abusing power and kind of thinking of a lot of things. And I'm gonna be honest, it talks about a lot of like problems and back and forth, and it talks about you were given a choice and then you made a frank decision, is what they're talking about. Like, you made a frank decision, and that's the way that I'm being told to take it, 100%. And they're talking about how this is not an easy thing, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if you set boundaries in not a healthy way, and that's why you're questioning it, because the way you handled setting boundaries maybe wasn't on the up and up. But they're talking about part of the way that you react, and I don't know if you know this or not, but part of the way you react is a trauma response. And this is what keeps coming out, is the fact that this is a direct response from other types of trauma, abandonment, lack of worth that other people have seen in you growing up, or living your life. Maybe I shouldn't say growing up, living your life thus far. And they're talking about, it's almost as if sometimes, it's like almost as if sometimes you like, I don't want to say you like push, but it's like sometimes you push in order to kind of break free of a unconscious decision, or like, what's the word? relationship. Maybe relationship's a better word, and it could be platonic or romantic. Excuse me. But I feel the need to say that, like, honestly, whatever just occurred, because I don't know if this is like a just occurred, but they're talking about how this has really caused you more strife and like struggle and more like questions and back and forth and should I, shouldn't I have, did I make a good decision, did I not, then it was almost causing you more harm because of the way that you heavily questioned your choice and the way that you executed your choice. And they keep saying in the way that you executed your choice. Like, they keep acknowledging the way that you executed your choice. They're not just talking about boundaries, because they said in the beginning boundaries are healthy. They're talking about the way that you executed your choice. So I'm not sure how you laid out those boundaries, and if it was something that you don't typically do. Yeah. You're really being called to balance your fire out here. I'm going to be 100% honest, because as fiery and as spicy and stuff as you might be, they're talking about how it can be really problematic. It can be disruptive, and a lot of what they're talking about, I really feel like the disruption is caused from past spaces that aren't 100% yet in your energy, from past spaces or places, traumas and dramas that are not 100% come to terms with inside yourself in order to be no longer present in the way that you react or respond, and no longer a part of kind of what you perpetuate by accident. So I really feel as though they're kind of talking about the need to kind of to rebalance and kind of reassess some things, because they want you to be almost unshakable and know your worth. And they're talking about how sometimes some of the things, the way that you react in the spaces and places that it pulls you back to, and I don't want to use the word triggers, but pulls you back to and triggers is places that you need to look at, because they want you for it to no longer have control over that part of your energy, and specifically when it comes to your emotions and your heart chakra, specifically with that. Because I'm going to be honest, I feel like the push away is easy for you. I think it's just the loneliness that comes with the push away, and that kind of gets you, is what they're talking about. Like, it's almost like the push isn't bad. Your boundaries, the push away, isn't the bad thing. It's the, well, now what do I do? It's the enforcing them. It's the you not buckling. It's the dealing with the backside, now being on the other side of the boundary. Is kind of what they're talking about, is being more problematic. And then also, like, your execution of the boundary, which is weird, but they just keep saying the word execution of the boundary. So, however you decided to lay out the boundary, did you have a conversation with somebody? Did you go, hey, this is what's best for me, I can't do this, blah, blah. Or, did you blow up at them, and just catch them off guard? Did you have a mature conversation like that? I think that they're just pulling back to how you did it, and then why you did it that way. Was there any ulterior motives? Because they're kind of pulling towards a little bit of pain, a little bit of, like, push-pull in the fact of, like, almost wanting a runner-chaser kind of an energy is really what it feels like, almost wanting a trigger. So that way somebody can chase is kind of like what it feels like. It's so weird, but that's kind of what it feels like. It's almost like you're concerned about how your boundaries make somebody else feel, and sometimes not always in the best way. Sometimes in a way of, like, wanting to instill a response to prove in some way how much they care. Like, it's like an interesting kind of perspective is what they're laying on. But they're kind of talking about how sometimes you're more worried about how your boundary is perceived by others than how it's perceived to you being your boundary. So I feel like that's why they're redefining the word, both healthy and boundary, when we first started. Is because I think you're looking at it from an interesting perspective, and your guides are like, well, let's get down to brass tacks. Like, what are we considering a boundary? Like, what are we... But I gotta be honest, when you set the boundary, regardless of who you are, why you set it, or whatever the reason is, it's the boundary setter's job to hold the boundary. So you have to stand behind the boundaries you set, and you have to be willing to shut it down when it doesn't match. Like if you draw a line, like I always tell people I work with, if you draw a line in the sand and then you go, do not cross this line, right? And they reach across this. Oh my God, this is the best quote series. And they reach across. Well, what's going to be your reaction? If you just said, don't cross this line, and somebody crosses it, are you going to be like, okay, now that you've crossed it, don't cross this line and draw another? No, you have to enforce your boundary. But they're also talking about if you put up a boundary and then you break your boundary, then the boundary you set, why can't you keep it? If it was important to you, if you need it, why can't you keep it? And they're talking about your inability to keep the boundary, you're setting the boundary for other ulterior reasons, is something they want you to delve into. Because boundaries are not healthy, and this is what they're talking about. Boundaries are not healthy. They are. But they're only healthy when you truly need them. They're only healthy when you abide by them. They're only healthy when you enforce them. Because if you don't, then you're doing yourself more harm than good, and this is that balancing. It's also balancing out your wounds, your ego, and your authenticity. I feel the need to say it like that. Your wounds, your ego, and your authenticity. And ego, even though it has a bad connotation, it's just the character. It's just the thing that we've built. It's just our personality. It's our masks. It's our, you know what I mean? Like, it's all of these things. So don't think ego is just being like this larger than life, like negative connotation. It's not typically that when we're speaking about energy and shadow selves and things like that. So maybe a different way to say it, it would be like your authenticity, your ego, and your shadow. Maybe that's the way to say it. But I got a really high pitched right ear ring. I think your team just left. I think your team just blipped out. Like in a hurry. Yeah, they're not over here no more. I guess they're done. That was one of the more abrupt stops that I've had. I usually get that more with like dead people than teams. But they did a massive earring and then blipped out. That was interesting. I'm going to just collect these cards, and then, Miss Jordan, if you have anything that you would like clarification on, I'm going to scroll back because I haven't read any of that. I'm going to scroll back as soon as I get these cards all sorted out. But if you have any questions or anything you would like restated or like said a different way, as long as I can remember, I don't mind doing it. So go ahead and just drop it down in the comment section. And I hope that made sense, and I hope that helped. I'm going to scroll back here in a second. I'm going to scroll back here in a second for you and see. I'll read everything you wrote while we were in channel. Apologies for my dog getting wild. I've never had her jump off the bed in the middle of this, so that was interesting. Just know it didn't scare me. I can't see out of my eyes when I'm channeling because I'm somewhere else. So, I heard the sound and I couldn't see it. So, alright, I'm gonna go back, and just see, okay, I'm Jordan. Okay, are my new boundaries healthy? Does Steve care I ghosted? You ghosted. Oh, okay. They were, yeah, I'm learning to set boundaries. Okay. I promise I'm not evil. Oh God, I thought I broke everything. Yeah, it was a rest. Yeah. So, I think I understand what they're talking about now. So, there's different levels of ghosting. I'm in a bad situation for my safety. I need to leave and nobody needs to know I'm leaving. Perfectly okay. And then there's like blocking ghosting. And then there's like, I'm talking to somebody, something's going south, I don't like it. Block, ghost, delete on everything under the sun. Without an appropriate conversation, without that is functioning more often than not out of trauma response, out of some sort of trigger or wound, or whatever word you want to use for that label, but it's usually out of a dis-ease in the energy field that causes us to think that that's the only option. Now, I'm separating this from moments of like severe abuse or trauma, like that type of a thing, because there are situations that you're not in a safe space, and you have to, I always tell people I work with, you always have to do what is going to keep you safe. So if you feel like you need to leave in the middle of the night, pack your kids up in the car, and you need to go because you guys ain't safe, then that's what you need to do, and you should never feel bad about protecting your family or your safety. But I don't consider that ghosting. That's like making a run for the hills. I always think of ghosting more as like technologically ghosting, right? Like not answering, blocking, them on everything, putting their number in the graveyard, deleting, whatever the case may be. And you just have to ask yourself why, because not only did you rip somebody out of your life, cause your turmoil, but if somebody was a genuine person and they were being, now you have to discern this yourself in your own personal situation, which I have no knowledge of, you know what I mean? You have to kind of ask yourself, like, I also caused the same amount of trauma to the person I ghosted. Now, if someone's being a jerk, you might say it's justified. But if they were just being them and something they did triggered you and you didn't communicate it, I don't know. That's up for you to decide. But the question above it, I'm not done reading all the comments though. The question above it's a little concerning, in the fact of did the person I ghosted care? So I think that part of the read makes more sense now, is because they're asking what was the reason you ghosted, because I think they're asking you, what is your subconscious reason for ghosting? And the reason they're asking that is because when people ghost, sometimes then to go back and be like, did it affect the person that I ghosted? You have to ask yourself, why do you want it to have an emotional, energetic effect on the person that you did that to? So you have to ask yourself, why did I ghost? Did I ghost to get a rise out of somebody? And now that whole part of the read makes way more sense if that was one of your questions, because they're asking you, why did you really do it? Did you do it because you're learning boundaries? Because ghosting isn't a boundary per se. Learning boundaries is learning how to express your need for a boundary. There's a difference. Now, enforcing a boundary, after it's been expressed, that's fine. But you just got to make sure that you expressed the boundary, because that's like shooting somebody who crossed the line they didn't even realize was a line they can't cross. And I mean this in like a genuine way and not like an overtly, if someone's just being overtly, dramatic or crazy, then it just is what it is, So, I would definitely, I'm going to keep reading though, but I would definitely say that that's one of the things that you'd have to use your discernment for. I'm trying to seriously. I'm going to say I'm trying, but actually setting healthy boundaries now for my life. Yeah, so you just got to do what you got to do. You just got to do what you got to do. So thank you, Miss Jordan. You just got to do what you got to do. So thank you, Miss Jordan. I will see everybody on tomorrow, probably night. I will not be on in the evenings tomorrow. Oh, you're more than welcome, dude. And like I said, this is going to be posted on YouTube for everyone who got reads. So if you want to rewatch your read, it'll be posted on the tube. So no worries. It'll be timestamped so you don't have to scroll through the whole thing. We have a website out there. It's www.childofbalance.com. If you guys would like something felt into, or you need a private space or something like that, we have tons of that on the website. If you want the free tree of knowledge because you want to dive into some stuff, we have that as well. If you also are looking for other content, we also have Instagram and we have YouTube. Feel free to check out all those things. Thank you so much for everyone for being here. Thank you for all the likes, the loves. Thank you for all your time, your energy spent in this space. Thank you for everybody who followed and everyone who shared and tapped the screen and who stuck around for everyone's read. It was more than appreciated. And I will see you guys probably tomorrow night. I will not be on tomorrow afternoon. I have tons of stuff to do. But I will see you tomorrow night, maybe like 8:30-ish. We'll see how it goes. I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for being here.